Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Off the Deep End podcast. I am your slightly more muscular than before, but still actually injured host, Eddie. I am joined today by my brother, Jackson.
Hello, our guest today is Anthony Triplet, and he is keeping kids safe.
Hope you enjoy. All right. Okay, sweet, man. So let me hear a little bit about your childhood.
Well, let's see. I guess where do we begin when we talk about childhood?
6 pounds, 8 ounces.
So I was born in San Diego, California, 1991. My parents moved to Washington State when I was one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember living in California at a young age, but I remember the stories and them telling me, we lived in the hood and all this stuff down in San Diego. It was a different time. And we moved to Washington State because my granddaddy was in the Navy, so he was up in Oak Harbor.
Oh, sweet!
So we got stationed, or he was already stationed there.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my mom and them had moved back, lived with my grandparents till they got on their feet. Blah 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 blah. And just I grew up in Whidbey Island as a young kid from 1 to 5 years old, and my family had only been my mom, dad, my new younger sister, and my grandparents, my auntie Tia. That's all I knew. And then I find out later, hey, we have all this other family in California. That's where you were born. We're going to go visit your family. Okay, cool. My dad's side of the family. So growing up, all I knew was Washington life, rain, this little bit of family. Come to find out, I have a way bigger family. I have 6 other sisters.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. At 5 years old, right? Like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Where did they come from?
You know what I mean?
Why wasn't I staying with grandma and grandpa?
Yeah. Well, who are these people? All of a sudden, their family. Oh, look at you're so cute. Picture cheat. These are your sisters. Hey, go with these people. What the heck?
Yeah.
It's a lot at 5 years old.
I don't know you.
So yeah, we took a family road trip to California to visit family. And I guess the idea was we were supposed to go there, visit family, and then go to Disneyland, family vacation, then come back to Washington. That was the plan. 5 years old. We get there, visit family, and we're driving to Disneyland, and we get into a very bad car wreck.
Oh, God.
My dad dies.
Holy shit. I'm sorry, man.
And it's been a long time, but my dad dies. He wasn't wearing his seatbelt. And this is early 90s, 96. Seatbelts, it was optional pretty much, especially if you were an adult. He wasn't wearing his seatbelt. He dies, flies out of the car. My mom flies out, breaks her arm. She was wearing a seatbelt, but I guess it was enough for her to not die. I flew out through the sunroof apparently and didn't know. And my entire left hand was shredded open and whatnot. Like I have very minimal scars to it now, but like you can see like little dots of it here from where it was healed, but it was completely ripped open.
Oh man.
And like
she got gloved.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
At 5 years old, and my sister who was in the car seat and stuff like that, she was just about to turn 3. And she barely had a scratch, luckily. So this was pretty traumatic for me early on, you know what I mean? Like what I don't know. So my only thing of getting on the highway, car trips and all that, accident. Because it's pretty traumatic.
And all you knew was that small piece of your family.
That's all I knew. And now all of a sudden we're back in San Diego with these strange people and family, and I'm hearing, where's Tony? Where's Tony? That's my father's name. Where's Tony? Tony's dead. Tony didn't make it. My mom is crying. And they take me over. They're pulling glass out of her. And this is all things I'm seeing at 5 years old. And I'm like, wow. That was like my wake up and introduction to life. Okay. So from 5 years old, I had to become a man from the age of 5, essentially, when my father died.
Was there anybody else in your household, as far as male role models in your area that kind of stepped in and helped your family through this time, or did you guys have to figure it out?
Figure it out, man. So I said, like my granddad, he retired Navy, Whidbey Island, but old. He was working as a contractor for a while, but he was the only male influence I had in my life. The only, because my mom never remarried. She never really had a stable boyfriend or anything like that growing up. Unfortunately, she's a great woman, hardworking, single mother, working anything she could to support and provide. And it was tough. But the only male influence I had was my father or my grandfather. And physically, he wasn't able to go out, do the things, but he was always there encouraging and supportive and very, very strict and disciplined. He's a military man. He's old school.
Oh, yeah.
He was drafted in Vietnam. You know what I mean? He was drafted from college to go fight in Vietnam in the army, got out of that, and then joined the Navy and retired from the Navy. So early on in the military, with all of the racism and things like that, and the civil rights,
Oh, yeah.
he was a part of all of that.
Wow.
He was born in 42 in the brink of World War II. So we have to think of the level of discipline that he had growing up and then instilled into me was a different time. Beatings and discipline was normal for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it sucked, but it was a different time. Whoopings, switches.
Yeah, go get a switch.
That was normal.
The electrical cord.
You know what I mean? Whatever was handy, and if you found the wrong thing, you knew that was going to be worse. And if you tried to hide, you better not hide.
You got to come home sometime.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was my life. So 5 years old, I have to become a man. My father's dead. I keep getting told, "Hey, little Tony, you're the man of the house. You're the man of the house. You're the man." I don't know what that means. 5 years old. I don't even know what it really means that my father's dead. I don't. I'm 5. And growing up, I've always kind of had that feeling like, oh, what the heck is missing? You know, why? Because I've only grew up around women.
Yeah.
Other than my grandfather, who was in it, you know, it's my grandfather. I don't see him every day. It's not like. So I had a very different perspective on the look of, you know, when it came to females, always respecting females and stuff like that, because that's who's raising me. It's nothing but females.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, my mother, my sister, auntie. So I'm around. So respect for females and children and things like that also were very, very instilled into me.
Absolutely.
Here come a few years later, from 5 to I think I'm about 7 or 8 years old. A friend of a friend is introduced to the family of my mom, and I end up getting molested by this dude.
Yeah, that can be extremely traumatic, man. I've been there. It sucks.
Like, here's what's messed up for me, man, is like looking back at it now at 31, it's like, yo, that is some serious stuff that you went through. But at the time, you just roll with it and keep going through life. You know, so
because you don't know anything else.
You don't know it. I don't know. I don't know what. I didn't even realize what was going on until way later on, looking back at it.
That seems like the same type of response I get a lot of people when they talk about things like this, because when you're first introduced to the world, you're supposed to, you know, have your mommy and daddy, or your daddy and daddy, or mommy, whatever, right?
You look up to
adults. You're supposed to have your
adults.
family, and you look up to adults, and they're supposed to guide you and protect you and keep you safe from the bad guy. And, you know, lo and behold, there's a lot of wolves out there in sheep's clothing, and your herd might not be the safest place. People that prey upon children are the biggest scourge of this entire society. How many people? I don't know one woman who hasn't been preyed upon.
Right.
I don't know a lot of guys who haven't been preyed upon, and the stigma that guys don't get molested is complete trash. I mean,
It's trash.
It happens.
I've
been roofied. I've gone through the ringer, man, and
it happens more often than you would think. But the stigma is, if you speak up as a man and say something about it, you're gaslighting, or you're a pussy, or
you're a victim. You're not strong.
You're not strong. Then you start. You're not masculine, and then it's like, oh well, he grew up with nothing but women. No wonder it happened. Wait, what the fuck kind of response is that? And you wonder why men don't want to step up anymore, because when we do, or we do talk about it, we get those comments. And I did that.
A lot of time it's from other broken men who say shit like
exactly.
that. So
and I did that experiment on my Facebook alone with 2 different posts, specifically just to see. And the women started throwing shade. And then I do another post out there, and it's like, no, we want men to open up, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you see, this is exactly why. Because 2 posts ago, you guys were coming for us like we wasn't shit. And then now I put
generalized too. I think I was a part of this social experiment.
You were. You were too. But it showed, it was me, you, and one other male on there who were coming together as 3 males. Yeah. That was beautiful. That moment right there.
And it wasn't like to drag her down.
It wasn't. It was just,
listen, not all guys are dirtbags.
Exactly. Don't put us all in the same book. And
Oh
then,
man, cheat. Yeah, you fucking
and then
wish.
that one comment from that one. So you're saying you want us to be your mother? Blah, blah. I was like, so you're telling me love, care, and affection is acting like my mother? Come on now.
Nah.
And then you notice she didn't have any other response.
Yeah, do better. Sorry.
She had no other response as soon as I said that. But so for me, yeah, I'm molested. I think I was like 7, about to be 8 or something like that. I'm molested by this dude. His name was John. I'm never gonna forget this motherfucker. And if I ever see this motherfucker again,
retribution.
No. I just want to talk.
Oh.
I would sit him down and just talk. I have that much self-control. And that's one of the things that I can pride myself on is my self-control and my actions. My mind and words, that's why I throw all my chaos on Facebook or social media. I throw it out there that way because my actions in real life, I want people to see is like, no, I'm actually a genuine person. You know what I mean? People can think what they want online, but when they see me, my actions in real life and see what I do, and I'm actually a caring, giving person as much as I am, people start to realize and they start to look within themselves a little bit differently. It's like, okay, how much of that was I really looking into about him? How much of that was I judging about him before actually knowing him? You know what I mean? So 3 of us the other day on Facebook, 3 dudes that never met each other coming together in a small sense on over one post. It was pretty nice to see 3 males come together in that aspect. It was nice to see because you don't see that too often. Usually it'd be just a bunch of other hate bashing right back to keep it going, but instead the conversation pretty much got squashed because of facts and pretty much pointing out not all dudes are the same.
Absolutely.
And then I get this thought in my head, okay, I have to protect women and children. I get molested at 7, 8 years old. That fucked me up. Why am I always protective of these people? Self-conscious or subconsciously, I don't know. It's just it was in my nature growing up, going to school, middle school. I'm the protector, looking out for bullies, looking out for people who are, picking on or trying to roofie a girl or something like that. I don't like that stuff. I never have. I'm not going to be a part of that growing up. I've always been that way. And there's been girls reaching out to me on my Facebook from high school, stuff like, yeah, I remember, going to parties and being happy that you were there because they knew that it, like looking back, I'm like, dude, I didn't think that was a big deal, but they remember stuff like that.
You're a true community servant.
Yeah, man. I mean, because I look at what happened to me at a young age, and there was nobody there to help me out.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Nobody was there to help me out. I haven't talked about that at all up until I told my mother about it before she passed in 2019.
My condolences, brother.
So when that happened to me, I never spoke about it until I talked to my therapist in 2018 when I got out of, it was 2018, when I got out of the military. I had to tell my therapist because I was starting to get this rage and anger because my oldest daughter was coming close to that age and there was some shit that was going on around the school and shit that I didn't like. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't focus on what the heck was going on. And I told my therapist about what was happening to me. And he said, it's probably because your daughter is close to the age where you experience your trauma and she's a girl. And you're starting to get this feeling that it's possible. So, even though it hasn't happened to her, but it happened to a friend of a friend, that's too close.
Absolutely.
So the therapist told me, he's like, that's probably where a lot of that is coming from, and to look within. And he actually started telling me, you're going to have to release some of that, and you have to tell your mother. And my mother and I's relationship up until that point was not the best. Not because of that, but because of just growing up situations were poor. All of my money was going to her, and I always had a resentment, this, that, and it's just a lot of back and forth. You know what I mean? Absolutely. That I didn't understand at the time until now looking at it, it's like, fuck. And here we are. I tell my mother what happened. She breaks down. And I don't talk about it again until I think I talked about it on like the second episode I ever did on my podcast once. And it was like on a live on a Facebook or something like that when I was first starting out. And that was the last time I talked about it. Then I start to realize now I have my second daughter who's around the same age. And now things are even crazier. School shootings, all this stuff is going on. And I think about how I grew up because now I'm raising my kids. I'm being told one thing by this woke culture narrative and stuff like that. But then I'm also raising my kids and want to show them what the reality is. So I have to really, when you say, what's it like growing up? I really look back. Growing up, it was tough. We don't know what it was like if we were going to make it to the end of the week, if we were going to eat. Sugar water and macaroni, 10-cent macaroni boxes, top ramen, making it stretch, big bags of rice that that was growing up. Up until 18 when I moved out and joined the military.
What was the ultimate contributing factor to you want to sign up for the military, just to leave there? A lot of people that I talk to, usually they say they want to just get out of the area or get away from whatever their current situation was. And some other people had this weird calling of like
call to serve.
It's called to serve, right? Yeah, it's just in their heart. Get the American Eagles in there, like freaking out in their heart or something.
I've heard that, man. I had to really look within and because I was, got to ask that question, especially as a young soldier. Why did you join the military?
It was in boot camp.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your drill instructor just got done whooping everybody's ass. Why did you serve? Your mother proud of you.
And then, why you got to look within you? Why are you here? All this, When you're 18, we joined for different reasons, and I joined at 31. Looking back at it, but ultimately, I knew for a fact early on college was a scam, and it wasn't going to work for me. And my entire focus was survive and work. So going through high school, I was working full time at Baskin Robbins since I was 13 years old. So I was working 40 plus hours a week going to school. And for me, that was my focus: work, survive. So school was not it. My grades weren't the best. So I didn't get scholarships to get into college and things like that. Well, I had enough to graduate because I had the in with the right administrators, and I got certain classes taken care of. By meaning I would test out. I would just test out of those subjects so I didn't have to sit in the class so I could work. Because I had a really good counselor my senior year who helped me with that. Luckily, her name was Rose. And she sat me down. She said, "You're not going to college. Like, it's not going to work. Like, it's not for you." She said, she was realistic. Yeah. But you have to do something. And I was like, I'm just going to work. I'm going to work. But I knew I needed to do something. And I was going down a path and things were in debt. Things were going bad, and I was needing to pay the bills at whatever cost while still working. So I'm into a different lifestyle. The middleman. Now this is back when weed was not just a recreational everyday whatever thing.
For black men, that's 40 years in prison, depending
exactly.
on what state you're in.
I'm living in New Mexico.
Yeah,
I'm going to fucking prison.
Oh yeah, and it's hot there.
Oh man. So black man in New Mexico, 18 years old. I'm the middleman for arranging a lot of movement of stuff.
Yeah.
And whatever money was coming my way, I was throwing it in the gas tank or keeping the lights on. There's no questions asked as long as the lights are on.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people haven't been in that spot where
they have never been in that situation.
They've suffered through poverty and people talk about stress inoculation when it comes to shooting and things like that, and I'm a real believer in it. If my bank account says anything less than a couple racks, I have a serious
there's a chemical
change in my brain where I am constantly stressed, on edge. Like my wife, I think a lot of people call it resting bitch face. My wife just looks at me for a while, and I know I have resting bitch face on.
You already know.
So I'm always in my thoughts. I'm like, oh God, what am I gonna do? Blah 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 blah. Now I can't do this. Now I can't do this. Mm-hmm. What if this happens? What if my car breaks down? What if this and that? What if my family's struggling? Yeah. And you're screwed. That a lot of people don't have to deal with that because they've had a good upbringing where their parents were really had it figured out. Not like necessarily spoon fed, but they don't have to deal with that stress of financial hardship, and it really ruins kids.
It does. Yeah. You watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air growing up, right?
Oh yeah.
So there's one particular episode on there where Aunt Viv and Phil were arguing in the kitchen, I think. And they're arguing about the kids. They're growing up with the kids and how Hillary's just spending money on the credit card, blah, 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 blah. And there's one thing Aunt Viv says that is very, very, it resonates real hard. She says, Phil, I think we've worked so hard to give our kids everything we never had. We forgot to give them what we did. And what she's talking about is giving them some of that struggle, because they have the mansion, they got the butler, the maid, they got everything that's catered, but they don't have to struggle. These kids don't have struggle. Meanwhile, Will's coming from West Philadelphia,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, from
It
the
ain't
real
all hot
struggle.
there.
You know what I mean? And it really hit home. Now I'm raising my own kids as they don't have to struggle. They don't have to worry if the lights are going to get kept on. I have things set up right now to where as long as I exist, the lights are going to stay on. The house is going to be paid. There's going to be food in the house, no matter what.
Mhm.
As long as I'm alive. As long as I don't do anything stupid, all I have to do is just exist. Right? Which is not everybody's in that situation. But because I'm in that situation, I realize that. That's why I'm such a giver. I've always been a giver. But my kids don't have to worry about struggle. Not to that degree. So what kind of pressure do I put onto my kids? I have to force some struggle onto them, making them do chores, making them do things outside of their comfort zone, because they don't have that normal struggle, that survival struggle that I had growing up. They don't, not yet.
So you have to inoculate that stress
to.
level so they can
I
just
believe you have
survive
to. I believe you have to, because this woke culture world and spoon-fed thing that they're doing here in school, where they're trying to coddle everybody, is not real. The real world is mean and harsh.
It'll chew you up and spit you out, man.
And not even think twice.
No.
That is the real world.
There's no one coming to save you.
There's not. You have to be able to protect and do stuff for yourself. So how do I do that as a father when the schools and everything is telling me, no, you have to do this and be kind. You can't say this or gender neutral. All that. No. Fuck that. I don't play that shit. And not in my house. I'm gonna be honest. But we don't play that. You're either a boy or you're a girl. As simple as that. I don't care. You can be gay, straight, whatever you want to be. I don't care. Yeah. Do you love who you want to love? That's all cool. I don't care. Mm-hmm. But there's some facts here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my oldest daughter, she's on her cycles and stuff now. There's unfavorable facts. I cannot. You know what I mean? There are things that's happening to her as a young woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That will not happen to a young boy.
Absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are I can't.
I was raised definitely different as well. Thing was weird. I got a lot of things introduced to me very, very, very strangely. And going to the military, it wasn't like a culture shock for me, but for a lot of people in the military, they'd never met someone who's openly gay, or they never met a black person.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they never met a white person.
Really?
So I got people, several with me walk around, man, this motherfucking cracker ball bite. I'm like, whoa, man, listen up, brother. We got to kind of chill that shit out.
Yeah.
Man. We're all here for one purpose, and it doesn't. I'd rather be saved by somebody who's comfortable being who they are than a fake motherfucker.
Exactly.
Authenticity is everything.
Exactly.
So you're going into the military, and you have to provide.
I have to.
You have to provide, and you want to do it so you don't have to face life or other things, right?
Well, I didn't have much of a choice. I knew I had to do something, and I didn't want to stay in the same area. I knew what was going to happen. Like, I've always been a forward thinker. I think I've had ADD or ADHD for so long, but never diagnosed or whatever. My brain is always going 4 or 5 steps ahead, constantly running. And it's hard for me to slow down, So I knew at 18, I was like, if I stay doing this, I'm going to end up here like everybody else in New Mexico, doing the same shit. And New Mexico is a very strange place.
I've been there. It's a little weird.
It is very weird. It's like its own country there, because now there's some really great people there, great culture, great food. But the idea is they say it's called the land of enchantment. That's like the motto. But the people that live there call it the land of entrapment, because it's like once you get there, you get stuck. And that's all people know. I've known people there that have never, ever left the state. Never even left between the 2 cities, Albuquerque and like Santa Fe.
Damn.
Yeah, that's all they know, and because there's but you understand the lifestyle out there is different too. There's a lot of movement of weight out there.
Yeah,
because of the cartels and the border there. There's a lot of heavy weight that's moving out there.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of small towns and villages too.
Oh yeah,
and
the sheriff.
There's no way you can stop that shit.
Well, I mean, you've seen Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul show. It's all done out there in New Mexico. All of that is real. It's 100% real. It's just like that. And that's the part of the life that I was involved in. But luckily for me, getting out wasn't hard. The guy that I was in with was a good dude. He was just in the game.
Yeah.
But he had a good conscience, but it was just the game. Moving weight.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But he had a regular job, supported his family, but he had flashy stuff and introduced me to the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he also had my back. So when it was time for me to make a decision, I'm 18, getting out of school, I talked to him. His name was Jimmy. And he said, look, brother, you got to do what you got to do. Simple as that. And I went to the recruiter came to our school the day before graduation. And I was like, I'm joining the military. And he, most kids, yeah, whatever. You're joining the military. You're not going to show up. The day after graduation, I was in the recruiter's office. Like, I told you I'm here. Let's do this. Because I knew I needed to get out. And he signed me up, took the ASVAB.
But you're 99.
No, I fucked. I was way low. He was like, you're retarded, pretty much.
Oh, no.
You're retarded, pretty much. And I was like, damn, I've wasted time in school. It hit me. I wasted all my time in school. I fucked off. And I said, he was a tough recruiter. He was like, no, you're fucking off in school. This is where you're at. You don't know shit. Here's the books. This is what you need to study on. In 6 weeks, you're retaking the ASVAB. And he would check in on me every day to make sure I was going to work and to make sure I was doing studying. Mm-hmm. That's the recruiter I had.
Yeah.
That's how involved he was in my life. And 6 weeks, took the ASVAB, and I passed. And he's like, all right, these are all the different jobs that you can pick from now. Which one are you going to? And I sat there for 3 hours going through each video, and I was that recruit.
Good.
And I picked combat engineer, right? Cool, we got you signed up. Go to MEPS, do all the shit. Here's your ship out date. It's in a few weeks. Cool. Here you swear in. What's the first thing they tell you? Do not get into trouble.
Do not lie, and don't tell them. If they ask you if we lie, don't do it. The moment of truth is what they call it. Did your recruiter tell you to use fake piss and all this stuff? Man, I smoked weed the day before.
You got it.
I pissed clean though. But
because you were fit.
I was so horribly fit, man. I was running 10 miles a day.
That's the thing. People don't realize when you're fit, you could clear out in like an hour. Like, but people don't realize that it's the fat cells where it holds on to and stuff like that. But
someone asked me once, how did you get in the Navy? I said, by the grace of God. Because they got told no.
For real.
I'm like, well, dude,
and
I'm like, dude.
Well, if you think about it, it's a lottery shoot, man. Because less than 1% of our culture is ever served.
I was 18, young, dumb, full of cum.
You got to think about that's ridiculous, and it's all volunteer service. So like, there's a 99% disconnect with our own population that's never served.
Yeah,
that's a huge disconnect.
Oh, and guns are weird to them too.
Exactly.
I mean, we're gonna tap into that later.
I wasn't even introduced to weapons. A gun. Well, I never shot a gun until I was in the military. It was all knives and fighting.
I'm sure we'll talk about it.
All right.
But yeah, man. So you go to the military, right?
Yeah, join the military.
So you signed up for the Marines, and then you started eating crayons. No, I'm joking. So you went out for Army.
No, I actually originally was thinking about the Marine Corps, and it was 2009. The war was still pretty hot, and they were like, "No, you test. We're gonna pick your job." And I was like, "No, I'm cool. I know exactly. I'm not going to infantry. Like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
I want to do something that I could actually use some skills, but still be in the heart of the fight." So I talked to the Army recruiter. So I went in and I talked to the Army recruiter. I told him I'm here. I signed up, got the job, combat engineer, right? With 12 Charlie identifier at the time, or 21 Charlie identifier, which is bridge crew member.
Okay.
And I thought, all right, cool. I'll be doing float bridges and stuff on the river. I'm not going to Afghanistan. There's no water, stuff like that, right? Lo and behold, I didn't know. No, son, you're a combat engineer first.
Yeah, first the C word, combat. Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, so I joined the military, and they tell you, what do they tell you? Don't get in trouble, after you raise your right hand. Because I was on delayed entry. Your ship date is in a few weeks or a few months.
Yeah.
Or a few weeks. Don't get in trouble. You belong to the Department of the Army now.
Yeah. Your life is forfeit.
So I go to work. I'm good. My recruiter checks in with me once a week. Everything good? Cool. 2 weeks in, everything good. 3 weeks in, Triplet gets arrested. I haven't shipped out to boot camp yet or to basic. I get arrested. I get arrested because
walking while black.
Pretty much. I was in my neighborhood, parked right down the street from my house, like 6 houses down, parked because there was no parking on the street. Coming home from work with my girlfriend at the time, we were having an argument in my car, sitting in the car, just arguing.
That's the best place to argue.
Just
It's like away
talking.
from their family and
We
shit
were,
like
and
that.
we weren't even yelling. We were just talking, kind of like we're talking right now, but she was crying.
Oh.
Right? The neighbors called the cops and said that I was being suspicious and irate with this young white female.
Oh yeah.
So being black dude in New Mexico doesn't look well, and then and it's close to midnight. I have a blacked out windows in my car parked. It didn't look well.
Yeah.
And my car smells like weed, right? And I had not been smoking or anything like that because I had already joined the military or sworn in and all that. So my mindset was just military. I'm clean.
Good. Yeah.
I'm good. Not drinking, nothing. Not even smoking really cigarettes or anything. I'm good. But while I was at work, my buddy who was living with me, he was using my car, and he was still making some runs and stuff. So he left some stuff in my car and didn't tell me about it. And he was always good about cleaning out stuff before giving me back my car if he ever used my car. This particular day, I didn't know that he was making any runs. I told him, "Hey man, I'm only going to work for a few hours. Come pick me or drop off my car." So he drops off my car, and he goes back out. I'm like, all right, cool. I thought everything was cool, nothing in my car, because I didn't know he had already made a run or anything. I thought it was just a normal day.
Yeah.
So when the cops show up, they come, check me out for being suspicious and irate or whatever the fuck they were saying. He's immediately screaming at me, telling me that you're on drugs and where's the drugs, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't have any drugs. And then he's like, no, he starts accusing me. No, you're out here trying to have sex with this young girl. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm putting you in jail for and I'm like,
have you ever heard of the Fourth Amendment? Leave this man alone.
I was freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because I'm 18. I've just fucked up my life. I'm about to join the I'm thinking like I'm done. So I get arrested. I get arrested because I let them search my vehicle because I'm like, yeah, dude, there's nothing in my car. I don't smoke. I'll take a drug test right fucking now. Search my shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, pop open the fucking trunk and lo and behold, what do they find? A fucking brick and some fucking paraphernalia and shit like that. With intent to distribute.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, and I'm black, and of course that's not mine. It's not mine. It's my friend's. Mine. Yeah, likely story, buddy. Clickety clack, you're going to the Alabama Slammer, bro.
Oh no.
So, and my mom is down the street. She knows, and she's crying, but I can't bail you out. That's her. I can't bail you out. We ain't got no money. Figure it out. That was her words. And so my call was to my recruiter. Oh boy, was he pissed.
Hey, listen, bail me out. Put me in a different city outside this jurisdiction.
I didn't have to, luckily, for some reason, I didn't have to post bail.
Oh.
For whatever reason. They just kept me there until he came to pick me up.
Because it sounds like it was an unlawful arrest.
I think it was because of, but I still got charged with the drug paraphernalia and possession with intent to distribute because of what was in my vehicle. Mm-hmm. So it's my vehicle. I own what's in the contents of whatever's in the vehicle.
But your boy fucked you over.
So my boy fucked me over. So because it was in my vehicle, I still got charged with possession and with intent to distribute. But my recruiter, I don't know what he did. I didn't have to stay over. I stayed the night. I didn't have to stay and post. I didn't have to pay bail.
Okay.
I don't know what he did, but he was pissed. He got me out. He didn't even talk to me the whole ride back home. That's how I knew. It was like that disappointed father. Like,
oh no,
you know what I mean? He dropped me off at the house and he was like, 06 tomorrow. Meet me at the recruiting station. Don't be late. I was like, but I gotta. He's like, don't be late. I was crying, man. I'm freaking the fuck out. So my first,
because you're trying to change your entire life, and it's all jeopardized.
My next call is to Frankie, get your fucking ass to my house.
Yeah.
And at this time, I was about to beat his ass.
Yeah.
Like, I was about to beat his ass.
Yeah, you could be looking at a lot of years.
You
if
know?
you had a brick. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I still got charged, so I had a court date. So first was to go, because they gave me the charge. I had to go to, it was like a plead hearing or whatever it was, to either plead guilty or not guilty for the charges. And I pleaded not guilty, thinking that if I did that and I explained why, they would drop it right then and there. The judge wouldn't even let me finish. Because when I went up there, she was like, okay, this is for case whatever, guilty or not guilty. And I said, not guilty, because she's like, stop, sir. We're not here to discuss why. It's either guilty or not guilty. And who is this? I was like, well, this is my friend Frankie. He's the reason why. It was his stuff that was in the car, and he's here to admit to it. And she's like,
so he did the right thing.
I made him come with me.
Yeah.
I didn't give him an option.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't give him an option.
Well, was he willing to before you said, listen to either this or that?
Like I said, I didn't give him an option.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I wasn't giving him the option. I was like, you're going to own up to what this was, because I'm not fucking over my life for your shit.
Yeah, and if you're going to be a criminal, you got to be willing to
own up to your shit.
Yeah.
Take your charge, dog. Like, you know the code. It's called catch your charge, and I'm not gonna catch a charge for you for shit I didn't do when I'm trying to get out the game.
100%.
But I'm trying to, it's not happening, bro.
No.
Just because you fucked up your life and you couldn't get out of and get your GED at the time doesn't mean I'm fucking up my shit.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I didn't give him an option. I didn't ask him, and I would not let him leave my side up until we had that court date. That's how I'm talking. Like, he was with me everywhere I fucking went.
Yeah.
He was holding on to my fucking hip. I did not give a damn. If I went to PT in the morning with my recruiter, he was there at PT with me.
It's good.
And my recruiter made sure as well that happened. And looking back at it now, it's like, bro, that was kidnapping, but that's technically.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Some would say that. I would call it a violent request.
Mm-hmm. No, it was a mutual request by him not wanting to catch the charge with his hands.
He did the right thing.
Yeah, he didn't want to catch his hands.
He just wanted to be a good friend.
Yeah, he wants to survive.
Yeah, man, he wanted to survive.
He wants to survive.
I would never.
Because
I don't know what I would do if I was in your shoes. I would.
Bro, because my recruiter did what he did, I went to plead not guilty. They gave me a trial date, so now I have to go to trial and hire an attorney.
Oh,
I can't afford an attorney, so guess what? I get a public fucking defender.
Great. Yeah, that's an L.
And guess what? Because I have to go to trial, my trial is now scheduled for 3 months later.
Delayed
entry.
Yeah.
But guess what? Because I'm in trouble with the law, he's making up other reasons to why I'm delayed entry. Mm-hmm. School reasons, I hurt my toe, whatever. Anything he can to buy some time so they don't know, because he can get fucked as a recruiter for helping me in the legal situation.
Oh, super bad. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but he had that good of a heart to help me out. So long story short, I had to wait 3 months. So he's pushing out anything he can do. He finds a way. He finds out, because I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is the capital of New Mexico. He finds out that he knows he's neighbors or lives in the same neighborhood with the district attorney. So, somehow this recruiter just happened to stumble upon somewhere where this district attorney was at and just started pulling up a conversation about a situation with a recruit. And the district attorney said, well, can he meet me tomorrow at this time at the courthouse, bring his buddy, and we'll discuss it. So I get the phone call. I get the phone call from my recruiter the day of. And he says, you have 30 minutes. Get you and Frankie over to the courthouse and dress nice. Don't speed, but get here now.
Yeah, don't speed.
Right? And that was my first introduction of getting orders in the military, right? So
I hope you followed him to the T.
Don't speed, but get here. You know what that means.
Yeah, hurry the fuck up.
You know what I mean? Get here. Move with the sense of urgency at all costs. Get here, or this might, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get there to the court. I mean, we're dripping sweat. Like, we're running in the confined parking. We're sprinting. We're in there dripping sweat, right? I have my Nikes on with my good pants and my tie, trying to button up, not look like a slob.
Yes.
Running to the courthouse. And my recruiter's got that look on his face like he's pissed because we're pushing that 30 minutes because of traffic.
Yeah.
Right? The courthouse on the opposite side of town. So we're pushing on 22 minutes, 27 minutes. We walk in the door at 28 minutes, and he has that look of that fear of God on his face. Like, if you don't get your fucking ass here, I'm gonna rip your soul out. That's the look he had.
Yeah.
Right. And so we get in there and they pull us into one of the private meeting rooms and they read me my charges, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, tell me your story. Why are you trying to join the military? Tell me what happened. I told him I was coming off of work. I'm trying to join the military. It's not mine. I offered to do a drug test, blah, 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 blah. They didn't let me do a drug test. They booked me. They told me this, this, and this, all this unjust shit that they accused me of. And the DA was like, oh, they did that. He's like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. All charges that have ever happened with you from this point have all been dropped. Everything has completely been, your record is.
They also didn't Mirandize me.
Well, they did, but, he goes, because I had also had some like minor shit with teen court from before that I didn't finish.
Oh yeah, me too.
He goes, we're going to completely wipe all of this as long as you promise to go through with the military, because your recruiter speaks so highly of you. That I'm going to do this. So I'm in there crying. And I'm like, absolutely. Thank you. However, I now have to have a signed waiver from the state to the federal government saying, hey, we're giving this guy the option, either pretty much join the military or go to jail, which I didn't know was a real thing. I had no idea it was a real fucking thing. I have the document in my I Love Me book because I had no idea that this was that whole, you go to war, go to jail thing. I thought that was just for like the draft. I didn't know there was other avenues that can be taken. So I have this waiver signed by the DA from New Mexico and to the Department of the Army saying we want to, and the Army saying, yes, we're going to waive and allow it because it was a time of war. I didn't get a bonus, but I got the Army College Fund as a incentive, right? But because it was a time of war, they allowed my waiver to come through because the war was hot. And because the MOS I picked, they already knew I was going to deploy. So the military had already, because as soon as they get you, they plug you in as a number. Yeah. Fresh recruit, 12 Charlie, combat engineer. They're deploying how soon? Oh, perfect, brand new body, immune to everything, and he's going. The military sees that as an asset.
Yeah.
Right? So what do? They were starting handing out waivers like fucking candy.
Of course.
So I was lucky enough to get that waiver up until the drawdown in 2011, 2012, with Obama and all that bullshit that they were doing.
Oh, yeah. Big mess.
Remember that? The drawdown? Yeah. So I have that waiver, go to war, pretty much join the military or you're going to jail. And I was going to get 10 to 13 years for possession and whatnot. Yeah. I would still be in jail to this day.
Yeah.
For weed, bro. Can you imagine now? And now in New Mexico, weed is legal, completely legal. They have weed shops just like here. So now I'd be wondering, would I be out or would I still be in jail?
Well, if you look at California, you'd still be in jail, like for sure.
That's ridiculous.
Federal idiocracy, man.
You know what I mean? That's crazy. So that was my introduction to the military and to life as a young man.
Wow.
So 18 years old, I joined the military. It's 2009, right? So up until I get out of the military in 2018, my entire adult life and development was military. So you can probably understand why I am the way I am and so aggressively move forward, fix the fucking thing, and let's get it done kind of attitude.
Yeah. Don't drag your feet. Let's get it done.
That's all I know.
Okay.
And when I was in the military, because of it was such an honor for me to be part of the military or I could be in jail, I did my fucking best, but I was never a PT stud.
Yeah.
I did what I could, but my body could not. I've always had issues. I have broken feet, flat feet and stuff. I've always had issues. But I did my best. So I used my brain and other skills to the best of my ability to be a good leader. I made E5 in 2.5 years.
Me too. We're brothers.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on. Yeah, I went from E1 to E5 in 2.5 years, and they were like, "What the fuck is this guy? Are you smoking crack or something?" And I'm like, "No, man. I want to be here. I don't have shit. I left with nothing."
That's what I'm saying.
So I didn't have shit
exactly. I left with my fucking Saturn of a car that I had in my duffel bag. That's what the fuck I left with.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
My everyday carry at the time. So a lot of people talk about EDC. My EDC for leaving was my orders, a knife, in case I had to kill somebody.
Yep. While you was driving.
What I talked about. No, it was my dad. Like we had real bad blood, big blowout. And then I had my girlfriend's number and her address written on a piece of paper,
Really?
and my sister's number and her address written on a piece of paper, so I could write my sister and my girlfriend. That's all I fucking had.
That's it. But
and
that's all you
my
needed.
blue and yellow Nikes.
But that's all you needed.
Bag, yeah.
That's all you needed.
That's all I needed, man. I had fucking hope floats, man. Hope fucking floats.
But the military takes care of you. You have what you needed. You got
you.
shelter, beans, bullets. That's all you need, bro.
Food and food. Yes, food. I'll take an MRE over a Navy food anytime.
Well, the best part about the military I learned is they teach you to be happy with what you have, because you're not gonna get the nice shit.
No, fuck no.
Unless you're SF,
you're in the Air Force.
Unless you're Air Force or SF or one of those high elite units, you're not gonna get the nice shit. You're gonna get the busted shit, and you're gonna make do with the best, and you're with everybody who has to deal with the same busted shit.
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. From the captain all the way down to the private, everyone's dealing at the company level. Everybody's dealing with the same bullshit. And that's what I love about the military. When we go to the field, from your company commander down to the private, you guys are out in the field,
in the shit,
the shit together.
100%.
And I was in a field unit. I mean, I'm a combat engineer. All we did was either train to go to war or deploy. That's what we do.
I got a couple of buddies that are combat engineers. I think there's a lot of prestigious elements of military servitude. I think that one of my favorite ones is people who aren't actually infantry. I mean, I know everyone gets cool optics when you go special warfare and do these elite, crazy groups that open up all the shit, like tier 1 shit. But the support units are my favorite. If you're like, even if it's not all fancy, not
right.
Oh, blah, this is my rifle, this is my boot.
Bro,
it's fucking badass.
You can't do shit without supply.
No,
you can't. And let me tell you right now, Camo, you can't do anything if you can't communicate. Nobody. First of all, nobody can outrun the radio.
No,
you can't. You can't outrun the radio.
Good luck.
And if I know my radio can reach other people who are strategically positioned, you know what I'm saying? So you can't talk. One of the best quotes I ever heard from a Camo guy is, "You can talk about me, but you can't talk without me."
100%.
And I love that. And I was like, you know what? I love that. That's awesome.
You got to steal that one.
But as an engineer, because the engineer world is so different. Because there's only 2 MOSs in the engineer world that are combat. Technically 3, because the 12 Bravo and 12 Charlie are pretty much just one. The Charlie is just the identifier for bridge build and demolition.
Okay.
But we signify, like, I can be in just a Charlie unit and do nothing but bridge stuff, but I can also be pulled and work in any sapper unit as a 12 Bravo. That's the best part. It's such a small MOS.
Okay.
But I was lucky enough to have that. But luckily for us at that time, males and female could be a Charlie, but males and female couldn't be a Bravo.
Okay.
I had both. I was a Bravo and Charlie.
Okay.
So my certificate has both, because all I did was Bravo stuff, and then I did Charlie stuff later on the river.
Sweet.
Anyways, I get to Fort Polk, Louisiana, the armpit of the freaking military.
Oh man, it's
Fort
hot there.
Polk. I mean, it is hot. It's muggy. There's roaches. It is something like I've never been to. This is so. I go to basic training, Fort Leonard Wood, and all that. It was cool. Made some good friends. But I go to Fort Polk. That's my duty station. And the day before I left, my drill sergeant goes, "Triplet, Ward, come here." What's up, drill sergeant? "You 2 motherfuckers are going to war." And we're like, what? We're standing there at parade rest, and because he talked real funny, we're like, yeah, whatever. Because at this point, we're a couple of days, we're about to graduate. If it's kind of chilled out. And right, yeah, whatever, Joe. Son, you talking about your ass? Ain't nobody going to war. You know what I mean? Because we're Charlies, we ain't going to war.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, he starts laughing. Ha ha! You 2 motherfuckers are going to war because he got our orders.
Yeah.
He's like, yep, you're going to Fort Polk. You're going to Fort Polk, because he knew the unit. Because it's such a small unit, all the Charlies, we all talk to each other.
Yeah.
So he's talking to the unit I'm going to, old buddies. "Hey, motherfucker, I got these 2 privates that coming to your unit." He's like, "Yeah, we're about to deploy. We just got our gear. We're going to Afghanistan 12 months." And
12 months.
12 months.
You know what? No wonder you're not part of it's hot, man. The only couple of people I know that wear black when it's hot outside.
Well,
it's me and all my buddies in the Navy, because it was 160 over the water with the heat index.
Yeah.
160. And then people who,
because that reflection, right?
Oh, it's so bad, dude. You're in a fucking oven. And then you got people out there that go to the sandbox and they embrace the heat. or they cripple.
It sucks. It sucks, but it's like, well, what else are you gonna do?
They give up, man. Yeah,
Like,
embrace it. Become one with the
you
sun.
have to. You have to. And I sweat a lot. That's why I wear black, because I sweat so much. But it's like, I have to be out here. So
you're not winning any wet teacher comps. Then.
You know what I mean? It ain't happening. You know what I mean? And I got the dad bod. So
hey, nothing wrong with it, man. Nothing wrong.
But yes, I go to Afghanistan, bro. They're like 12 months. And here's what's funny, bro. I go to my unit, right? I get there day one. Mixon picks me up. He introduced me. I check in, and I'm looking at my unit. All these guys. I'm introduced to the real army now, not basic training style, AIT style army. I'm introduced to the real army. They open the back door to like where the arms room is and where like all the soldiers and shit are. I'm brand new private, my brand new uniform, shiny, my boots looking
Military
good.
bearing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm looking at, specialists and privates laying on the floor talking shit. They're talking to a sergeant. Fuck you, motherfucker. And this other dude doing push-ups.
Yeah. Been shot at a couple times.
Yeah, doing push-ups and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is nothing like. And I get there, and they're like, hey, you two motherfuckers, come here. Which one of you coming to my platoon? And I was like, oh shit. It's my platoon sergeant. He goes, which one of you's really good at PT? My buddy Ward, he's a stud. It's like, me? He's like, yeah, you come to my platoon. He goes to first platoon. I was like, I guess I'm second platoon. They're like, all right, can you run? I was like, yeah, because at the time, I was like, I can run. I was like, but I wasn't as strong. Push-ups was my weakest event, which is now like it ain't shit, but I can't run. It's so crazy how life works.
It's so crazy how life works, man.
So I get there, I'm in second platoon. And he's like, "Hey, motherfucker, stop all that bullshit." I'm like, "Yeah, sergeant, all parade rest, all super." He's like, "All right," he's like, "Relax a little bit." He's like, "All that, he's like, yeah, you got to go to parade rest, but like all that other extra shit, like, he's like, cut that shit out. Like, this is the real army. We don't do that shit."
That is what it was like. That is exactly what it's like. Every single story I've ever heard, first time showing up. Yeah. All that shit you just spent all this time trying to be so good. You want to do a great job. Show up to your new unit, got all your uniforms pressed. They're like, "Are you ready to work or not, bitch?"
Right. I got dude with holes in his coveralls, all greased up and whatnot. Yeah. His hat's all torn up. I'm like, what the hell? I'm in here, my uniform all creased and whatnot. They're like, bro, don't wear that shit here.
Don't wear that shit here.
You make us look stupid.
You're gonna catch a spider. Oh man. So you get there, unit military bearing is out the window.
Yeah, you start to acclimate real quick, man. Yeah.
What was it like? What was your job specifically overseas? So I'll take it this. So you put on night vision goggles and went out every night.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I thought, because I went to a Charlie unit, a bridge unit, a float bridge unit. I went to the 814th Float Bridge Company. We were renamed when we got to Afghanistan, 814th, the Multi-Roll Bridge Company, which they are still named now. So I went in there initially thinking, I'm a float bridge guy. I'm only going to be working on float bridge, but we're going to Afghanistan to maintain the bridge stuff that they had there, and that was it. That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. No. I never touched a piece of float bridge at all. I became a fucking soldier.
Oh yeah. So you're just a body.
So I went in there with my qualified with my M16 the day we left to get on the bus to go to Afghanistan. We draw our weapons. They pulled me to the side. I'm PV2 triplet. Hey, private, get your ass over here. They take away my M16 and they shove a fucking 249 saw in my face. You're like, you're now a gunner.
Oh, so the what does the SAW stand for again? I cannot
Small
remember.
Automatic weapon.
Okay, so it's
a 249. It shoots to 5.56. It's just a automatic machine gun.
So it's like an AR-15, but with a lot more bullets.
Well, you take combat loads 1,000 rounds. It looks just like the 240 Bravo. It's just smaller. Shoots 5.56.
Yeah, just for the people who don't know.
I know
all about the SAW.
Yeah,
that shit's badass.
Yeah.
That'll make you go deaf too.
Oh yeah. So they gave me my weapon and my spare barrels, and they go. I'm like, hey, I talked to the armor. I'm like, hey, bro, I didn't qualify with this. I haven't touched this since basic training. And he's like, shut the fuck up, private. This is your new weapon. Spray and pray when you get down there. Spray and pray.
Yeah.
God be with you. He gave me my spare barrels. And I'm like, what are these? And he's like, those are your spare barrels, dipshit. Get the fuck out of line. I'm like, wow. and in my head, I'm like, oh, bro, you're going to war.
Yeah.
Like, it hadn't hit me until he shoved that weapon in my face and told me to get the fuck out of his face. Like, bro, spray and pray. You're going to war. Like,
you're gonna get shot at.
You're
You
going
get 'em
to
first.
Afghanistan.
Mm.
Do you realize where the fuck you're not in Kansas anymore, bro? You're going to fight the Taliban, and that's when it clicked. So I'm freaking the fuck out because I hadn't, you know what I mean? I'm brand new, 18. I turned 19 years old.
And you're specializing in building bridges and maintaining bridges and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you're not anticipating returning fire.
I'm not anticipating route clearance. I'm not anticipating room clearing. I'm not anticipating CCP, casualty collection points. I'm not anticipating what was it? What did we do? The EEPs that we used to do. I wasn't anticipating pulling our own security, being our own force, our own specialized unit. Because of our MOS is so small, we were the only bridge unit in country. The only bridge unit in all of Afghanistan.
So they couldn't. Did the command not be able to afford you additional security forces? So you had to do all the shit yourself, pretty much.
What I also didn't know is that Charlie units are Alpha units. We have an identifier with our UIC. Jesus. I think it's Uniform Identification Code.
Yes, it is.
We have an Alpha, which means we're a self-sustaining unit. So what I didn't know was the Alpha units are pretty much like the elite units. We're just like infantry. We go out on our own. We pull our own security. We have our own cooks, our own pack clerks, our own headquarters. We do it all within our own company. We can up and deploy at any time, any unit, anywhere. I didn't realize that. So, and that's what we were. So our command unit was our company. Our company commander was the commander. The next level was some brigade commander up into the CG.
Okay.
That's the kind of unit we were in. Okay. Self-sustaining.
Yeah.
So, and because we were the only bridge unit in all of Afghanistan, the only routes that they had was Route 1 and Route 4 that actually were hardball for our tanks and units to get through. So when the bridges go down and the Taliban blow the bridges up and take the metal for shrapnel and shit like that, guess who has to go out there and repair these bridges? Guess who has to clear the route to get to these bridges? So I didn't know that we had to, like I said, clear our own bridges, our routes, pull our own security. Actually, what's more fascinating to me is I didn't know that we were also the only unit that had what we call like not specialized teams, but like we had a group like within our platoons.
Okay.
So we're the only bridge unit there. So what we did, broke ourselves down and we kind of displaced ourselves throughout country. Just our one company.
Oh, and a company is how many people? Just for the people who don't understand.
So in our company, I think at most our entire company. Let's see. I think we had close to 200 people.
Okay.
In our company.
So it would be like a department in the Navy then.
Yeah.
Aircraft carrier size.
We had 2 platoons, which was our line platoons, 1st and 2nd platoon. Those are like the main grunts, the soldiers that do all the main stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we had our 1 platoon, which was our support platoon. That's where we had our mechanics and our heavy equipment operators, the guys who would operate our bulldozers and crane. And then we had our headquarters platoon, which was like the first sergeant commander, their drivers, our admin clerk, the cook, bus driver, stuff like that.
Your HQ.
Yeah. And so they were obviously the smallest, but each of the line platoons, I think, had close to like 42, 45 people.
Okay.
Each. But first platoon, so I thought we were all going to be like one company together and we would just go out on missions and stuff. No, we were specialized. So first platoon, their assignment was going to go down to the Helmand River. And they were going to do float bridge. They were going to put a float bridge across the Helmand River so we could have guys go close to the border of Pakistan and take care of business. And they were going to stay down there and maintain that 24/7. So we never saw them pretty much. They went and it was this really blackout cob. It was called Cobb Pain.
Okay.
Blackout, and this was out in the middle of freaking nowhere in the desert of Afghanistan, Helmand Province.
Okay.
Like there is no one way you go through the desert to get there. It's just make up your own route and get there. And if you've never just driven through the desert, it's not just like a flat ride. It is nuts out there. Yeah. So I'm driving through as a lead driver because we have to escort also. We're also doing security escorts.
Okay.
So this is how unique my unit was and what we were end up doing because we also went on missions with SF and MARSOC.
So your
That's-
job is not an occupationally standardized.
No.
thing.
This is when I say this is a specialty, and nobody stays in this job because it is back-breaking work. We are dealing with explosives every day. We are dealing with looking for explosives, using the robot, using the mine hound, using the different
The mine
radar.
hound, that's that thing that that's a lead truck that catches the mines
No,
first.
no. Mine hound is just a metal detector, right?
Okay.
It's a type of metal detector. We have all kinds of different metal detectors. We specialize in every single one. That's how deep this goes. Like I can look at a route anywhere, and tell you what it would look like if someone was going to place bombs and strategically try to put IEDs anywhere. That's how in depth the science goes behind this for route clearance, looking for IEDs, how to make bombs, and all that. That's how good I am, or we are. I can blow up every single tree around here and make an obstacle that would not be able to be cleared unless a combat engineer knew how.
Okay.
That's how in depth we go and how specialized we go. That's just explosives part.
Yeah.
That's not even.
So you have a.
That's,
was there a considerable amount of training that you had at your? We call it A school in the Navy. At your MOS school.
Not necessarily.
Or did you just learn this all on the fucking go?
On the go.
Oh
so let me explain this to you. All I trained for, as far as Charlie stuff, was the float bridge, and that was 1 week of float bridge training in Fort Leonard Wood.
So that's like what, 6 hours a day?
Yeah, it was so, and it's just fun.
It's just goes home.
Yeah, and then you go back to the barracks. It's fun because they teach you how to operate the boat, how to operate the truck, how to put the boat in the water, how to build the bridge, how to push a raft. They teach you all that in a week. It's so simple.
Yeah,
because we can make a 6-float raft in 18 minutes. That's like a trained crew can do that in 18 minutes, easy. That's the standard. For a regular 6-float raft on the river. Now, my times could be off. I think it's like 18 minutes, or it's probably adjusted now. But a standard crew could put a 6-float bridge on the river and raft people across in 18 minutes. That's how good we are. So, and this is how small of a unit we are. So not only are we doing this, we have to know how to do the float bridge stuff, also how to escort people from point A to point B as security forces, because we pull our own security. So we have our own gun trucks, our own gunner, and guess who's a gunner? With the 249.
Oh, you.
But guess who doesn't get to be a gunner because for whatever reason, I got picked to be one of the drivers. So I was always a driver on our missions and then dismount. Every single mission, except for 3 missions where I was a gunner. 3 missions where I was a gunner.
And this is not like you can. It's not like you can just bail out and just run away from whatever gunfire. You're there to accomplish your mission, and you have to get it done by any means.
You don't leave. Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, exactly.
My brothers and sisters are there with me. First of all,
yeah.
Where the fuck am I gonna go?
Exactly.
I'm in the middle of Afghanistan. Okay, so we're escorting 1st Platoon. Actually, let me backtrack because I messed this whole story up. I completely forgot about this. So I get to Afghanistan. Okay. I jump straight to mission. Eddie, I'm sorry. I get to Afghanistan day 1. Afghanistan, we get our tents, our check-in tents, and I get pulled to the side. Triplet, get your ass over here. You're coming with us. They put me in a freaking van with like 6 other dudes and all my duffel bag and my weapon, and I'm gone, and they put me on another plane. And I'm like, where the fuck am I going? Because you remember, they don't tell you anything in the military, especially if you're a private.
No, just do what you're told.
You just do what you're told. So again,
and do it well. Please.
I have no idea what is going on. I've been in Afghanistan 1 whole day, 24 hours. I literally have done the check-in training. You sign in, you get your chow, and you go do rollover drills, and you do all that basic check-in training. And then we're sitting down for not even an hour in the tents. I had just laid down on my cot. Hadn't even opened my duffel bag yet. And they're like, get your shit, let's go. Don't ask questions, shut the fuck up, let's go. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
All right. So I get my shit and I go. And I'm in this fucking van, and next thing I know, I'm back at the tarmac, and they're like, "Give me your fucking ID. We're getting on the plane. And I'm going to Leatherneck because we had flew into Kandahar. That's where we had checked in first.
Okay.
Leatherneck. I'm like, where the fuck is Leatherneck? This is a Marine base.
Oh yeah, it sounds like it. I was you said Leatherneck. I'm like, oh, it sounds like this.
This is a Marine base. We are the only Army unit on this Marine base. There's already problems there. Animosity problems because the Marines are, oh, we're better than you, kind of thing at that time.
Yeah.
At that time, now I look at it as we're all brothers and trying to, we're the best of friends. But there was some serious animosity we had when we were there because we were the only Army unit there, and we had a lot of fisticuffs from time to time.
Fuck yeah.
And that's just adrenaline pumping, and all the Marines that are in combat are males. They have to be.
And you got testosterone going.
Testosterone.
When testosterone flows, you either fight or fuck.
Here's the thing: we were the only Army unit there that was actively going out every single day and getting fucked up. So we had seen combat that these Marines hadn't even seen. And they were, we were at the smoke pit and all of them were talking about your fucking Army, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, motherfucker, I've been out here every fucking day and I just got blown the fuck up yesterday.
Yeah.
And we would start scrapping right there at the smoke pit.
That's a serious, it's like a discredit of you
don't you dare.
100%.
Don't you dare. And these dudes are doing 3 to 6 months rotations while we're here for 12. A lot of these guys, we had seen them when we had first got into country. They had deployed, went home, and came back to country while we were still there within that 12-month span.
That sounds like Tilo. He was there in the same area as you, I believe, for 16 months.
Well, some of our guys got extended. Man. Some of our guys got extended for another few months, and they were my second tour. They wanted us to do that too, and I was like, "No, I'm going home." Yeah. Anyways, but so my first tour, we're getting there. I go to Leatherneck. I get to Leatherneck, and it's pitch black. It's like fucking 2 a.m. We get to Leatherneck, and they take me to this chew. They're like, "All right, it's 2 a.m. No. Excuse me. It was like 1900. We got there. 1900, we got to Leatherneck. Now I remember. They said 02, meet us in the motor pool with all your weapon, all your gear, your weapon, and your barrels. We're going on a mission. Briefings at 02.
Damn. Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party. This is my first 24 to 48 hours in country.
Yeah.
So I get there and I go 02. Guess what? You're a pack and you're a gunner. You're going on the mission. I have no idea what we're doing. The fixed bridges, we went there to do a recon. It was the left seat, right seat ride that you do with the unit that you're going to replace. This is what we did while we were in country, the things that we saw on the routes kind of thing, recon type of thing. Mm-hmm. And we were going to do a quick repair on a bridge. Well, guess where we were going? We're already in Helmand Province. Yeah, right out to the desert. This is in 2009, 2010. Ghazni province, where it's hot. Sniper fire getting taken right where that bridge was. So this is my orders as a 19-year-old private in Afghanistan with a brand new machine gun I've never even fired. Mm-hmm. My orders were, you're going to go pull security on the far side of that bridge there. Anything that you see that moves on that side from that side, you light it up.
So what was so getting told that, right? It's a lot of gravity to that statement. A lot of people who haven't been in the military can't necessarily understand what you just got told. You just got told to end whatever life that might pose a threat to you potentially.
Anything that poses a threat, if they look like they're threatening towards you. This was from the XO at the time.
Yeah.
Our XO, because he was already there trying to be SF hoo kind of cool dude. He comes over to me as I'm in the prone position looking through my sectors of fire. Yeah. My left and my right limits of fire.
Yeah. Do you have intersecting?
We did have intersecting rates of fire with the other gunners that were staged and our gun trucks.
Solid.
But on the ground,
you were the SAW, right? So
I'm the SAW gunner, so I'm on the ground.
Yeah, you're right fucking there.
We have other guys with rifles and stuff who are repairing the bridge and stuff. But I'm on the ground as ground security. We also have our gun trucks, but this bridge is right smack dab next to a village.
Oh boy.
So we have the village walking around us where they're all friendly-ish.
Yeah.
Right? Because you show me what the Taliban looks like, and I'll show you someone who's full of shit. You cannot tell the difference between the Taliban and regular people because it's all blended. They all wear the same shit. Mm-hmm. Right?
100%.
You're not going to be able to tell. So I'm laying there with these people all around me in the fucking prone, donkeys coming up to me, shit and sheeps and shit everywhere. Smells horrible. It's 115 degrees in the shade. I'm full kit, sweating like a Hebrew slave. Okay, and and I got these elders staring at me, just looking at like I'm the scum of the earth. And these teenagers, fighting age teenagers, coming up and spitting at me like I'm the scum of the earth because I'm in their country. And I'm like, what the fuck? And all of a sudden, phew, phew, sniper fire is coming in, and the XO is like, yeah, they've been taking pop shots all day, but they haven't hit shit. Just move around. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, the XO, our executive officer, and he's like, yeah, they've been taking sniper fire. But you just have to move it because they haven't been hitting it. There's just been pops and everything. We're like, are you fucking kidding me? But they've been recon there for like 3 or 4 days, and so that's what they were pretty complacent, I think, or comfortable.
Okay, yeah.
I'm brand new. My adrenaline is going sky high.
Was this your first time being shot at as well?
First time being shot at. I've never touched this weapon since basic training. I don't even know what the enemy looks like. All that training and shit that they tell you went out the window.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the fuck is going on. All I hear is wind, and I hear my heartbeat every fucking beat. That's all I hear.
Hits me the close, man.
So I move.
Okay.
Now they can't see me. I'm kind of in the shadow. 3 hours later, we're out of there. That was my introduction to Afghanistan. Then I get back. I get my room. The rest of my platoon is there. They come in, that next day. We had already got our rooms assigned. We're unloading bags. Guess what? Second platoon. You guys are going out on mission next. Pack up next week. They told us pack for 2 weeks. We were gone for 2 months, Eddie. I didn't see our chew, our tent, our room, my other duffel bag and stuff. I didn't see it again for 2 months.
A lot of people can't understand the living conditions of being on a hunt for that long.
Yeah, so when you first get into Afghanistan, you check in to what's called like RSOI. I forgot what it stands for. It's like their recreational service orientation. I don't know. It's like there's a bunch of tents. They put you in tents.
Tent city, yeah.
Yeah, tent city. And it's literally just imagine like 5 or 4 no, not 5. Let's say like 3 or 4 football fields of just tents everywhere. Big ass tents that can fit like 50 people in, and some have bunk beds or just cots.
Yeah.
They first check you in and they give you a cot and a place to sleep, right? And then they get you your permanent residency for wherever you're going to be staying for the duration of your tour. Depending on the base, how big it is, you get a cot, a tent, or you get some places you get a bunk bed. The Air Force, they always had like double stacked bunk beds and air conditioning and shit like that. That's just facts. That's what they had. We got
delivery of sparkling water and limes.
We didn't get that. We got tents on most of the cars, and we slept on our trucks and outside under the stars is the majority of the time when I was in country. So when we finally came back to a bed, it was fucking nice. Yeah. It was a luxury to sleep on a fucking busted ass, pissed ass mattress. You know what I mean? But it was nice, but instead of sleeping on rocks. And so we have 2 months straight.
You didn't get a bunch of changes of clothes. There was no washer and dryer for those who are listening.
We would check into certain different bases from time to time to refit, refuel, unload some material, get new, refit for a day or two, and then we would go right back out.
Probably felt like a haircut and a half.
It really was.
After you get a haircut,
and that was the thing. Yeah. So these are your orders after you get back from the mission. All right, we did our refit. Your maintenance on your vehicles. You tie down everything that needs to be tied down. Okay, check it out. Here's your bunk. You have X amount of time. You guys can go shit, shower, shave. You will shave. You will go get a haircut, and we don't give a fuck. This is your time to go to the PX because they have like a little store in a tent. Yeah, you go to the little store, get yourself some cigarettes or whatever you need, your Red Bull. Be back here at this time. That's and you do it. You go get your haircut, and because you will get a haircut. That's the craziest thing. Like in the unit, you're out on missions and shit like that. And you still like, depending on, obviously now we're taking fire. You're not worried about fucking shaving and shit.
Yeah.
But like you're out there on mission 4 or 5 days straight in one spot. You're not shaving.
Yeah.
You're not fucking shaving. You're not worried about fucking shaving.
Yeah. You're worried about getting shot at when you're trying to take a shit.
As soon as we get back to the main base, that's one of the first things they tell you. All right, we're back on base now. You have to fucking shave.
They had a pretty big incident with that argument with one of my buddies, and he's from a I can't name the unit. I don't know the name of the unit. If I knew, I couldn't. But his occupational duty is to shoot people in the fucking face when he'd be shot. So he has to shave his face every now and then. He's always pissed off about it because he bumps up real bad. He's a black dude,
of course.
And he's like, man, I gotta fucking. Every time I see him, he's got a shaved face. He's bumped up, and it's nice to run into him. And it's so random, and man, and that's why my heart goes out to people who are afforded to play at all times. And Red Friday, we just talked about the other day. When we remember everyone deployed. It's so special to know people who go downrange and sacrifice everything because you could die. You're just talking about almost getting shot in the face.
This is
by a sniper.
And
this is not someone you know. This is not like we're murdering each other. This is like you're in a different country. You couldn't never make it home if you had to run away from that unit and you got lost. You could never make it back to base or there's no GPS.
There's no GPS. Nothing.
Completely out of your comfort zone. Out of life or death situation.
At that mission, we only took 4 trucks.
Yeah,
we only took 4 trucks. It was that it. If shit hit the fan and those 4 trucks were gone, let's just say.
And you don't run on top of trucks.
You don't know.
No,
you can't. First of all,
bullet magnets.
Yeah, first of all, those things are freaking super latched up and armored. And they have pressurized air locks because they're so heavy with all the armor. Like in order to open the door, you have to have those. It's either hydraulic or air. You're not just getting in these trucks. Like it's not happening. Yeah. And we're not riding on top. It's not like it's freaking, the 80s where we're
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
Get right on top. I'm not running the fucking truck. And I'm like, yeah, man.
It's not like that. Like,
no.
As a matter of fact, when I was there, the only time you saw Humvees were only on the base or by other national units.
My buddy was just telling me they put plastic. Did they put plastic doors on the ones near you?
Yeah, because we don't use them except for just regular. We just use them as regular cars on base. On base,
yeah. He was using them off base
in the beginning.
With still plastic doors
in the beginning, though.
No, the whole time. And they were shooting. He was telling me
in a Humvee.
Yes, brother.
When? There's no way.
So I got hooked up with my boy Tilo, but he was telling me all about what it feels like to have plastic doors as you're getting shot at while driving a lead Humvee. Lead Humvee.
Wait a minute.
Plastic fucking doors.
It had to be earlier on.
Yeah,
because
it was definitely earlier on.
Like OIF 1, OIF 2 earlier.
I think so.
Because I know for a fact from 2010.
It was in 2001.
Okay, so
and he was talking about that, and I'm like, you mean to tell me that they put?
Yeah, so
this is not Fisher Price, okay? That doesn't stop.
No. So earlier, in the beginning, it was like this real soft shelled plastic like shit, and then they had like this real light armor type shit. So like if you remember like in the earlier 90s and 80s and shit when we were going, like they were going to Bosnia and stuff, they were putting sandbags and shit on the floor because that would help deflect if they did get explosions, right?
And in Black Hawk Down, how they I forgot who it was. Yeah, Bill Clinton. He cut the military funding. Him and his cabinet. So everyone knows the president's a figurehead. He just sits there pretty much. But Bill Clinton's cabinet cut the military funding budget so drastically.
Yeah.
It was, and like hearing about it from my buddies who are Rangers and their buddies, and hearing about from you guys about how they cut military budget, like it's ridiculous because in the Navy we throw things we don't want over the side of the ship.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, and we blow up our printers. We have our EOD guys blow up our printers because we want to see shit blow up. Because they got to do their annual training, and they got to shoot. They got to shoot shit.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I guess you're recycling. That's the way it looks.
We are recycling.
So, like, and I come as an engineer. We go by a motto. It's called Essayons, which means let us try. Because the engineer world is the gruntiest, pretty much, of the grunts. We make do with whatever we have, and we're pretty much the MacGyvers.
Yeah.
You put a combat engineer. We're going to MacGyver something to make it work or get through something. There's an obstacle that nobody else can figure out. Call an engineer. Yeah. We're going to figure it out. Because here's the thing. If we can't figure out a way, we're going to blow it up. We're just going to blow it up and get through it.
Yeah. 100%.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to breach through. We're going to get through. That's our way of getting
creative problem solving at its finest.
Hey, look, we're going to figure it out because what we do, and it's beaten into us as engineers, especially the higher you go in the engineer world, especially where I was at, it gets really embedded into you how analytical you have to be because every little detail and calculation matters, right? When you're doing demo calculations, there's no room for error, right? I have to make sure I have enough explosive to get the job done. Yeah. If I don't have enough, I fail. And people die. People get hurt. if I don't do it right. If I do too much, I fail because people get hurt and people die.
Yeah.
So you have to utilize the right amount of explosives to do the job to where you don't have that collateral damage. People don't think about that.
No.
People just say, "Oh yeah, you just blow some stuff up." No. It's not just blowing. Okay, how much?
Just blow some shit. This is not
exactly.
This is not some
Well,
Tannerite getting shot out of the
Let
mountains.
me ask the average civilian, how much C4 would it take to blow up the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, to blow it up? How much C4 would it take? Or where would you even place the C4 to strategically blow the bridge up to create an obstacle to where the bridge would come down at the right time together?
Yeah, people aren't gonna know this shit, man.
Oh, we would have to have some architect. We would have to have some architect to know how. No, you don't. I can guarantee you get a combat engineer with a demo card. He can figure it out within 30 minutes. The entire bridge.
So you're doing all this crazy stuff. I mean, like to normal people.
To normal people,
who don't do what you're talking about occupationally, it sounds almost insane.
It's nuts. It was nuts to me. It still sounds nuts.
Was it nuts?
It still sounds nuts, bro. But it's the coolest thing I've ever done, because in what other way would I even have the knowledge of explosives or even have to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Unless I were to go work for the bomb squad or work for a demolition company like at a rock quarry.
Have you thought about taking your skills and applying them to a occupation such as SWAT and working with them?
Yeah, of course I thought about it, but it's too political and I don't want to get back into that game.
Do you think that I don't want to dive straight into this already, but do you think that the politics play a major role in law enforcement right now throughout America?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Optics are more important than actually helping people.
Yeah, and that's why I try to work with the sheriff's department as opposed to local PD first, because most people fail to realize that your local sheriff is the most important elected official in your area.
Absolutely. I completely agree, man.
But they don't realize that. They don't, because they forget.
Yeah.
They think, oh, it's just the sheriff's department. And then you don't realize that's an elected official and can make policies and changes in your county that they have to implement.
Yeah,
because he's the sheriff.
I want to talk to you all about your program as well. Just what would you say about the worst experience you've had in Afghanistan? Like, did you? And if this is, and it's always, if this gets to a point where you don't want to talk about it, you can let me know. But what did you lose a friend? What had the most significant impact on you in a negative fashion that you've had to struggle and fight through? What was your sacrifice part over there?
Damn, man, that's
loaded question.
That's a heavy one, but a really good question. Dealing with suicide after the fact is the hardest part. Dealing with losing friends who you served with, who you went through hell with, to know that they've taken their lives here when we're on the greatest country on earth, that is the hardest part for me.
Before we continue, I want to just let you know that here at Off the Deep End Podcast, we do talk about some things that can be extremely triggering for some of the listeners, whether it's domestic violence, suicide prevention, mental health resources, vet resources, veteran stories, active shooters, fitness, and even recovering from addictive substances. There's only one place I go to spread my message of positivity about not just going through things, but growing through them as well. For this, I use Anchor.fm. It allows my listeners to listen on over 7 platforms with a click of a button. Make sure you download Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started sharing your story.
So dealing with knowing that I have my best friends, my brothers and sisters coming back here in America, the greatest country on earth, and they're taking their own lives because it's too hard or whatever. Maybe they don't have a purpose or whatever the case was. That sucks. That's hard, man, because I can tell you for a fact that this country is not perfect, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now because we have the ability to be greater and continue to be greater. But when I have brothers and sisters taking their lives, that hurts me more than anything I went through in Afghanistan. And we went through some hard shit, man. Some real hard shit. Like the things that I got to witness and have to go through at a young age, at 18 or 19 years old.
And you've had a traumatic life before that as well.
Well, I didn't think of it as that. It's just my life growing up. That was just me. Look, bro, This is just me growing up. I didn't think of it as traumatic. This is just, hey man, your dad died when you were 5. This is you guys are dirt poor. This is just life. I thought that's how life was. I did not, and I thought the idea of being on TV or being rich or anything like that was just a fantasy. So the military was my only option to try to get a different set of eyes and to see something different than the desert of New Mexico, right?
Yeah.
So
your
I'm
people are out here
taking their lives, and it hurts because now I look at it as, bro, we went through this together. We went through all of that in Afghanistan together. And you couldn't have called me? You couldn't have called me? And a lot of the time, that's all it takes.
fucking phone call.
People just need to be heard sometimes. And I struggle with it myself with staying closed off with my own shit. But at the end of the day, I look at Afghanistan as, that's something that we got through. We took injuries, but every single person came back home in my unit. We didn't lose anybody while we were there. That's
awesome,
how,
man.
but it was because we didn't have a choice. Eddie, we didn't have a choice. It was only us looking out for us.
Yeah.
Those 12 months that I was there, those people became family beyond anything that I could ever say. And when you're taking pop shots and things like that, at first it gets extremely scary. But after a while, you start to get, I hate to say this, dumbed down to the idea that you just accept the fact that you're gonna get pop shots that come in. You get numb to it. That sucks. But it's scary to think about. You get numb to it. And then your first explosion happens. That'll put hair on your chest that you didn't think was possible growing. Because you cannot anticipate an explosion. You can't. Not unless it's a controlled detonation that I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't want to make a joke there, but I would say I don't even think that would put hair on my chest, man. I ain't growing no mustache. Baby face for life, dude.
You want to ask? You asked me what some of the most hard stuff was when we were there. Let me take you to September 23rd, 2010.
Okay.
This is a date that I will never forget because that was the first time that I was involved in an explosion. And that's where I received my first injury due to combat that I rubbed off and shrugged off, which fucked me to this point now.
Okay.
So September 23rd, 2010, we're on a bridge site. We have already been there for, I think, 3 days on this one particular spot. We go into this location where there was a concrete bridge going over like the arroyo. It's like a little river area.
Okay.
Where when the flood season happens, they have to have the bridge to get over so they can continue traffic and get their goods across the country. And people fail to realize Afghanistan is not all Taliban. The majority of the country is just good, hardworking people trying to make goods and travel around
and live. Yeah.
And live. But the Taliban has ruined them. You look back to like this early 70s and stuff before, Russia and shit went over in the Taliban and all that bullshit that happened. Afghanistan was a poppin' fucking place. It really was. It was more westernized. I mean, people were walking around in jeans and shit. It was a happening place. Mm-hmm. People don't remember that. And it's sad to see how bad it is in 2022. I was there in 2010 and 2014, and it didn't change. It didn't change a bit. Eddie, I was on a bridge site. We were pulling our own security. We had 6 gun trucks on the outskirts of this bridge area. Imagine a bridge you're trying to get to, and there's one bypass, a dirt bypass, but it takes you all the way out through the desert to get around. Okay? The only way for you to get to the next point is through this bridge. The Taliban knew that because they want to control the
Everything.
area.
Yeah.
So what do? They know if they take out the only way that the people can get goods across, if they take it out, they control that area. So what do? They take out the bridge. So they literally blew up the bridge. So the concrete bridge that they originally had built, collapsed directly in the middle. They know what they're doing. They blew up the bridge. So there's no other way to get around unless you take that bypass, which is controlled by the Taliban. Do you see where I'm at, Eddie?
Yeah. So you are going to go fix the said bridge.
Not only are we going to fix this said bridge, we have to take the bypass to get to the opposite side of the bridge.
Oh, fuck.
Because in order to build a bridge, you have to work from both ends.
So you're at half fighting force as well.
So now we have to break down part of our convoy to go through the bypass, to go set security on the far side of the bridge, maintaining security on the short side of the bridge, and making sure that while this bypasses, our guys are going through this bypass, they don't get fucked.
All at the same time.
I just want you to put that into perspective real quick. Okay? This is how long our convoy was. We had close to 30 vehicles in our convoy with 6 to 8 gun trucks.
And the rest was just equipment.
The rest was just equipment.
Yeah.
To put that into perspective of how many moving parts there are to sit in one isolated area controlled by the Taliban. Okay?
Yeah.
So we are there. Actually, I remember this bridge. It took us 3 days completely to tear this bridge out. The mission was to tear out that bridge completely because they had a bridge that was there. It was fucked up. And they were using those pieces for shrapnel to fuck us up. So our mission was to go there and take that bridge out completely. And then we were going to come back later and put in a new bridge, a stronger bridge that they couldn't fuck up as well.
A better bridge.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
So that was the mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
It took us 3 days to do it. Day 1, we're there, no problem. But of course, the only other way to get through this bridge, Eddie, as we're repairing it, is through where?
Taliban.
The bypass
area. Where
we also have our security out there. But so I'm controlling the vehicle entry point where I'm letting traffic. It's the traffic control point.
Okay.
I'm like the traffic cop here in America, except in Afghanistan with a machine gun and a radio.
And if you charge the control point, you get lit up.
I'm the only guy out there as a private. I'm getting lit. I'm the first one they see.
Okay.
Dismounted, Eddie.
Yeah. No saving grace whatsoever.
I have a gun truck about 100 meters behind me.
Do you have sandbags or anything, or are you just out there?
I'm out there on the street. I'm literally on the street with the flag and my gun.
Oh, God.
Because I'm stopping traffic. I'm telling them you have to stop that far back and take the bypass to get to the other side because we're trying to fix the bridge for you.
I see.
You see what I'm at?
Yeah.
And if you come any closer, that gun truck that's behind me has a 50 count and he's going to light you up.
Yeah.
So that's how our security was. Okay.
So you're the first
so
line
for
of defense
3
in this
days.
situation.
Yeah. For 3 days, and we're way out in front, way before even the bridge site. This is where, to make sure our guys are safe. That's how far out we were. We made a huge 360-degree cordon, and then you have the Taliban sitting right there, watching us. We knew they were there.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling.
But there's nothing we can do because our orders are to put this bridge in, and there's no support for us at this time. There's no other units in there supporting us as far as security. None. Zero, Eddie, because they can't come out there if the route is not cleared. Well, who clears the route? The engineers do.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to send another engineer unit out there to clear the route if we're already there, Eddie.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Really. So
there's
like multiple levels of fuckery here.
Yes. So you look at the multiple levels of fuckery. This is, and I have to break this down for people to realize because they don't think about it this way.
No.
So they're not, the big military strategically is not going to send another engineer unit out there to clear that area because we're already there.
Or an entitled completely
all
infantry unit.
And we have the ability to do it. Mm-hmm. Our vehicles have the mine rollers on the front. That's what you were asking about earlier.
Yep.
The mine hound. We have the mine rollers on the front of our vehicles and all that stuff. We're certified.
Yeah.
So we have all that stuff. So we're out there proofing our route. It's a rough proof, but we're proofing a very, very rough area for where we are, and that's it. So the only area that we drove through to set ourselves up is clear.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
The rest of that is not clear, and that's controlled by the Taliban. So they're sitting there in the village watching us for the first 24 hours. They're watching every movement that we have, Eddie, where we stage our vehicles, that aren't being used, how we're rotating our other vehicles when we're repairing and tearing this bridge out, how we're doing our security rotations.
Sounds like they're collecting human intelligence.
That's all they were doing. 100% for 24 hours. Okay? So the next day, and we operate 24 24/7.
Yeah, ain't nobody to take the breaks.
Yeah,
for you.
there's no breaks. So we're doing
Lunch break,
shifts.
baby.
Yeah, we're
Nope.
doing shifts. You're sleeping there on some rocks for a quick minute.
Hope you don't get bit by
yeah,
a fucking spider.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's 100% the truth. You're sitting there with your MRE for a couple hours. You get a couple winks with you and your battle buddy, and then you go back out to work, and you're working on this fucking bridge, and you're tearing this thing out. You're doing this every single day, and then you're rotating with the guys who are in the trucks. So you have to have a guy in the truck as a driver and a guy in the truck as a gunner, maintaining 24/7 in the gun trucks. In case something happens, they have to be able to maneuver at a moment's notice.
QRF.
Exactly. So we have a gunner and a driver awake 24/7. That's your security with a couple dismounts as well. Okay. Right? That's our security 24/7. Plus your crew that is repairing and tearing out the bridge. Okay? 24/7. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes. Everyone's tired as fuck. It's hot as fuck.
And we're sitting ducks.
And you're sitting ducks, completely exposed,
Doing
with people watching you that may or may not want you to die, depending on what day it is,
because
or who in their family has been killed by an American.
Well, not only that, Eddie, but now we're disrupting their flow of goods.
And Taliban's gonna Taliban.
Yes. The Taliban's not going to stop Taliban, and just because we're there.
Oh no, it's like a statement too. Taliban is gonna Taliban.
And here's the thing: they're going to send regular Taliban guys as regular people in vehicles to drive by our bypass to see what we're doing, and they did just that. And my orders were: if they don't stop past this line, you start shooting, and if after that, let the 50 cal rock.
Yeah.
You get the fuck out of the way while the 50 cal starts rocking. You know what it's like when you have to trust your buddy behind you who's shooting a 50 cal?
Not to hit you.
To not hit you? Do you know what kind of trust you have to have?
And they're rocking irons on those things. It's not like a red
It's all
dot.
iron
It's not
sights.
No special.
You have a couple
special John Wick. No.
Let me tell you, you have a couple of tracer rounds and you walk it in with the 50 cal.
Yeah, you
walk
it in.
So let me tell you right now, I have to trust my gunner. So if I've pissed off my gunner for whatever reason that day, whether it was about whatever porn he didn't get to watch, or I took his money from the cards we played, or dominoes, or whatever. If I pissed him off for whatever reason,
you're sweating a couple more.
In 2 seconds, he could take me out with a 50 cal round and I'm gone.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he wouldn't do that, and he didn't do that. But I'm saying, in the heat of the moment when bullets start flying and explosions happening, tactics typically kind of go out the window unless you have well-rounded people who know what the fuck they're doing, which is what I failed to realize we didn't have when we took contact the first time. And this is where I'm about to get into this. This is 24 hours in, Eddie.
Okay.
They're watching us. It's the next morning, right after sunrise. I'm still not accustomed to Afghanistan yet. I'm my first 2 weeks in country. Mm-hmm. I forgot that after sunrise, because that's when they pray.
Yes, prayer hour.
They go to work.
Oh, yeah.
The Taliban, too.
Yes.
So after sunrise, we're on the bridge working away. None of us remember or even thought about it. We're just in work mode, tinking away at this bridge, tearing this thing out. All of a sudden, boom, boom, boom.
Was it like clunk, 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 like a mortar, or?
These were mortars, but they were so close because we had our fuel truck right here in the vehicle area, and the bridge where we were at. The bypass wasn't very far from where we were,
and the noise is loud, so you're not going to hear the in like the clear area right outside of your base.
No. This is close, bro. Okay. This is within 100 meters of where you're standing. The first mortar comes out and it explodes,
and you're standing up and you're working. So this is like, oh fuck.
I'm on the bridge at this time, standing on a transom, which is the centerpiece of the bridge, which pretty much connects the two sides of the bridge together. And you put the decking on top of the bridge, on top of the transom to set your decking. Okay, so I'm standing on this, wobbling around with a machine gun dangling on my back with my bulletproof vest. I'm unbalanced, swinging a sledgehammer. Okay, that's how I am. Full kit. The explosion happens. The first one, it freaks us the fuck out. and we see our fueler take the fuck off because they were trying to get our fueler first to create a big explosion.
Yeah.
Well, little do they know, JP8 doesn't explode. It just burns forever. It's the hardest fucking diesel that we have. It doesn't explode. It's impossible. But nice try.
Yeah.
Our fueler knows, because they go through the defensive driving classes as fuelers they have to go through. As soon as that explosion happened, he was gone.
Oh yeah.
He took off and he knew where he needed to go and came back around to a safety or next area.
Get an EAP.
Yeah. Automatically. It was automatic. His job was to stay in the fuel truck until we needed fuel. He's the fueler. That's his job. Our job is the bridge and security. His job is the fuel. You see what I mean? While he's not being used, his job is to rest until he needs to be used to fuel.
Okay.
That's how we worked. Everybody has their job. Okay. The second one comes in, and they're within 50 meters of the bridge.
So they're walking it in.
They're walking it in. The third one comes in, and guess what? It's right next to where we are. They didn't hit the bridge. I don't know how close it was. I have no idea how close it was. All I know is that the force of the fucking explosion pushed me off the bridge and I fell straight down through the bridge. And I snapped my foot.
Jesus Christ.
And I grabbed my weapon, ran back up the rocks while people were running. I'm watching my brothers and sisters running, grabbing their weapons to start laying down fire and get ready for what's to come. Because this is it. Because where there's one, there's two, and where there's two, there's three.
Cowards moving packs.
These things are continuing to happen. They're going to use these explosions as a distraction, and they're going to start walking in ground forces and small arms. Strategically, that makes sense, right?
Mm.
Disorient your these people. They're sitting ducks. Disorient them with mortar fire, and then move in with small arms.
And they could have been creeping this whole time.
And in the night, because we don't have we have fucked up night vision goggles. We're not the elite unit. We don't have the good stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Looking through two toilet paper cans pretty
yes.
much at night, and it's green.
It's green. And you can't see shit.
Everybody says that sucks, man.
So, and a few of our gun trucks had thermal cams, luckily, the DVEs. Mm-hmm. But that was just on the gun trucks. But the main crew on the ground, we didn't have that shit. We're old school rifles and fucking machines. That's all we have. We don't even have radios, bro. Like handheld radios and shit like that. We didn't even use that. That's not what we had. Like a couple of our key leaders had radios and stuff that they took out of the trucks. That's what we had.
So your ankle's fucked, and then you get up anyways.
I'm running up the stairs,
I know a lot of people, as soon as adrenaline kicks in, they didn't even feel their injury.
Dude, I didn't even know my foot was broke.
Yeah.
So I run up.
How far did you fall, if you don't mind?
It was about 10 to 12 feet.
Oh yeah, that can do it right away.
Onto the rocks.
Oh yeah, you're fucked.
So I climb back up the rocks, and I'm seeing my platoon sergeant at the time standing there, froze.
No.
Kid you not. And this is what got him relieved as being our platoon sergeant at the time. It was this instant.
It's unfortunate.
So I get back up there, and I'm watching the rest of my battle buddies run down. They grab their weapons, and I'm telling them, get under the bridge, get down there because there's cover. There was some tunnels for the river bypass, the culverts. There were some tunnels there that we could fit in. So we had cover and concealment from the mortars that were coming in until we could call in airstrike.
Yeah.
Because they weren't going to walk in fast enough and see us. And if they were going to walk in, well, it was chitty chitty bang bang, because all of our gun trucks were going to light them up if they were going to walk in. And if they got in between our gun trucks for whatever reason, they had me and my buddy Sanchez next to me with our saws ready to go on both sides. So it would have been a bloodbath if they would have walked in.
But they didn't.
But they couldn't.
They just kicked
we were able to call in air. Luckily, our lieutenant, she called in air. We had a female lieutenant. And instantly, she had more fucking balls than our fucking platoon sergeant did.
Because fucking fired. Get out of here, man.
She ran down. I'm a private, Eddie. Mm-hmm. I'm screaming, get down, because I'd already fell through. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? I'd already fell through.
And they're still up on the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm saying, get the fuck down here, because I saw the concealment, the cover. There's rocks, there's a culvert, and then we hit the bridge.
You have a chance to live, too.
You have a chance to live. So even if they were to hit the bridge, they're going to hit the bridge first before they hit us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get fucked up shredded up, but there's chances are we're gonna survive. So I'm a private, and I had already saw this because I had fell through. I run back up and I'm saying, "Get everybody down, get down." My platoon sergeant is sitting there sweating, ghost white, Eddie. He's not moving or saying anything, and I'm like, "Hey!" And I like fucking grab him and I start shaking him, and I'm like, "We gotta get the fuck down here."
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. That's all.
So he went in shock.
So yeah, and I grab him and I pretty much push him down, like push him to like go. And I grab a couple other guys. I'm like, let's go, get the fuck down here. The lieutenant is already calling in what's going on. We're taking it. We took 25 mortars.
25 mortars.
25 confirmed.
You know, most people haven't even had one mortar come and hit them or hit near them ever.
Eddie.
They don't know what that fear feels like.
25.
20 fucking 5. Yeah.
The thing was, we couldn't shoot back at the area where we suspected that they came from because we could not see directly where it came from. All we could see was the arch of it coming down and then boom.
Yeah.
But we couldn't see where it was being fired from. We had a general idea because about 600 meters away from where we were, there was a little, not really village. It was like it was a tiny village, and they had a school there that was actively being used. So we couldn't fire back at that area because school was there and there were children.
And you can't shoot at children.
No, Eddie, there's rules. We don't know. So our lieutenant called in the airstrike. The planes came in, but guess what? The planes could not fire, Eddie, because it was a school and they could not confirm that the mortars were coming from there. It was speculative.
Yeah.
So they did the best that they could and they dropped some flares to scare them away.
Did it work?
It worked.
Hey!
Eddie, it worked.
It worked, and you saved that douchebag who froze up, sadly.
Yeah, well, guess what, Eddie? When I mentioned that, I got told, shut the fuck up. You're a pussy. You didn't break your foot. Quit being a bitch. You just stubbed your toe kind of shit.
You know, right? It sounds like me when I was doing unrep and I took the bomb crate with a couple 1,000-pound bombs right to the inside of my knee and I got all fucked up, right? Sounds just like that. But without the whole getting shot at by mortars thing.
Here's the fucked up part is I knew my foot was fucked up after the fact. After the adrenaline starts to draw down, you realize that you're kind of safe because we had to get the mission done.
Yeah.
So now we're back on mission, but we're on a different level of heightened because at any moment, every pop sound we hear, we're thinking that's it. Yeah. Again, here we go again.
It's terrifying.
So here's the thing. They waited until night. They started shooting mortars at us again. But this time we went back down to the same area. They called in the flares. This time they called the flares in. And they did the same thing. They stopped for a while. But at this point, we had called in for some support. This is day 3 now. We had some Polish guys from a Polish unit come in and help us out. And they laid down fucking waste.
Oh,
they operate on a different level of rules. They showed up.
I follow them on Instagram, some special units.
So here's the cool thing. And this is why I have so much respect for other countries and people. Because we're all just people.
Yeah.
These Polish guys did not know us. They knew we were there for 3 days and taking hell. When they came to help us out, the first thing they did before they even started firing, they brought us hot chow. That was Eddie.
What was the last time they had hot meal before then?
Well, because we had already been out about a month at this point. So that by this mission, this is day 3. So this was like 3 days. We hadn't eaten hot food. 3 days. Not too long. We had a couple MREs, but like it's 130 degrees and you're working manual labor, swinging sledgehammers and getting shot at all day. The last thing you're thinking about is eating a fucking MRE.
Yeah.
You just want an apple and a fucking bite of a steak or something right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These guys, the first thing they did was bring us hot chow. They issued us dishes of hot chow and then they took off in their version of a striker. And then they just start, they just start laying down waste in the area, while we were putting in the bridge. While we
joint task force, man.
While we were tearing out the bridge. I could not believe it, Eddie. These guys literally were there for us, and we didn't speak a lick of their language.
The love and compassion that joint forces have for each other is over the top. I've worked with a couple different units, and it was awesome to try to communicate with them. Was pretty hard sometimes, especially with the Mexican Navy. But dealing with these people, they were trying to, like, the captain of their little small combat ship was trying to feed me, and so I traded him a bunch of military memorabilia that I had, and he gave me a bunch of his, and it was really awesome. But
isn't it
hospitality between different joint forces is so
Isn't it?
special because you realize all we want to do is keep blood on the good guys and keep blood and take blood out of the bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's what really unites us all.
dude? When we're all here for the same mission, at least, or so we thought at the time.
That's what we thought.
At the time.
Okay.
Because again, this is 2010, and you gotta wrap it right. So we have a different idea at 2010 with these Polish than the Romanians.
Okay.
I got to get into the Romanians here in just a minute, because these guys, I have a love for the Romanians that I will never, ever be undone. I love Romanians so much.
So these Romanians, what is so special about them that really stood out to you?
Well, first of all, it was so the Polish guys. They came out and they brought us hot chow, and then they laid down waste to help us out. The only reason I say they laid down waste is because I don't know what they hit, but I know that after they were there, we never got attacked in that same area again. I know that much. I don't know what happened.
Checking the box is a win.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And 3 days, we got the bridge out, and we went back to Kandahar. We unloaded all the bridge parts, and we're talking about what happened. We're talking about how, hey man, you ran like a bitch when the bomb came in or whatever. And we're talking crap to each other as dudes do, and the funny thing is everybody experienced the same situation, but we all experience it differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
everybody had different experiences.
It's like we all went through the same thing, but everybody has a different version of what happened. So we had to write up these statements and stuff like that, and that's what
fog of war shit.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, this is like the moment we got back, they're having us write up statements and stuff of what happened. Like, that's the one thing people don't realize about combat units. Anytime your weapon is fired, anytime a round goes off, anytime something happens, you have to report that shit, and everything is accounted for. Everything. Because that all has to go into intel. So this is like the different levels that people don't realize that goes into everything that we do. Everything's accounted for. So we're in here writing our statements, and they go up to, the CID, then we confirm everything, intel, confirm what happened, who did what, who said what. We got issued combat action badges.
Hey.
Problem was, I asked, well, since I got injured, shouldn't I get a Purple Heart? And I got told to shut the fuck up.
You shouldn't have been told to shut the fuck up. And I know that a lot of people listening might have different things to say about that. I don't really give a shit. If you are a person and you're injured in combat, I think you should be thanked first of all for your service. Because let's just say one day you do come home and you're working to provide for your family, and that injury keeps bothering you. And now you have to deal with not just that, but also the question: are they really going to question you? Like you haven't documented it as a Purple Heart recipient. Who's to say you really are a combat vet? Who's to say you were really even in combat? Does this paperwork say it so you can get disability? You go through a lot of shit outside of it, and so anybody
the fact that you got to prove it to that fashion,
it's a mess. Like, I'm still going through my disability paperwork and shit like that. It's terrifying. Like, I have a really big issue filing for disability, and doing it. It's tough.
It's because it's a government-ran thing, so they want to make sure, well, you have to prove it to us first. Before we give you anything, you got to prove it to us first. And it's like, why the fuck would I make this stuff up? You sent me to Afghanistan.
Like, I didn't fucking just want to go.
Yeah, you sent me to do this shit. I didn't ask to do this, But, so, I asked about it, and I got told to shut the fuck up by not my squad leader, but the section leader we had. Shut the fuck up. You're fine. You just stub your foot. You'll be all right.
It's toxic leadership.
Right.
Do I want you to have to run from a gunfire when your foot doesn't work all the way?
You know what I mean?
Not really. Or carry me when I'm bleeding out.
Right. I talked to our medic, Doc A. I'm not going to say his name, but Doc A. And he knew something was wrong, but it was to shut the fuck up. Are you going to be a pussy? You're going to be in the fight mentality. Okay. That's where we were at. We had just been attacked. And I'm not leaving my brothers and my sisters here in Afghanistan. And my mentality was, all right, don't be a fucking bitch. So Doc gave me the muscle relaxer, some ibuprofen, and we wrapped my foot up.
Did he tell you to change your socks?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Can of corn.
Just making sure.
Can of corn. Can of corn.
Okay.
That's all you need, man. So this dude, he knew. But it was, we need you in the fight. We need you in the fight. Because we just realized what can happen at a moment's notice. And that was the beginning to hell in Afghanistan, September 23rd, 2010.
And that's those type of days where you remember forever. I noticed that dates stick out huge to people who are in the military. I still remember September 25th, 2012 is the day I left for the United States military. I came back on the 17th of in 2016. I remember the day I deployed. Like you remember specific days, and they're ingrained in your mind forever, like burning a CD almost.
Yeah, it's there.
And that I try not to remember dates, hindsight, that are outside the military, and it's obviously not for my anniversary. I remember my anniversary.
Oh, you got to, right?
I'm not gonna say that, and I remember my wife's birthday, but some days that really, really fucking bother me are out there as well.
Yeah.
Like Uvalde, I'm gonna get smacked in the face next year, and the Marysville Pilchuck High School, active shooter reminder that they do every year. All these things are going to be a slap in the face to me forever.
Right.
When you first got introduced to that situation, what was your initial thought?
You're talking about Uvalde?
Yeah.
Well, as a combat vet, bro, this shit broke my heart because I know Texas has a very strong military presence
100%.
and a very strong police and supportive presence. That broke my heart to see the amount of nothingness just being done. And instead of us tackling that, we have our leaders that would much rather blame the tools than actually address the real issues that we have or provide a solution to what is really a simple solution.
A tangible, realistic, effective solution.
Effective solution.
Because my guns, I can tell you, I don't know if you knew this right now, but my guns in this home that run the platform, they never just jumped up and shot people.
I've never seen a gun do that.
And if I do it, it's gonna hopefully they blame me for being a horrible person.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so, man.
But I mean, this idea, this fantasy world that we want to, or that not we, that they want to try to make us live in and understand, it doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
These same tools were used to protect me, and I was qualified and willing to use those tools to, well, protect us for our freedom when I was in Afghanistan and keep us here safe. So why all of a sudden are you trying to limit my ability to use those tools as a well-armed, licensed citizen?
100%. I mean, I don't think you don't obviously you don't look like an active shooter, and I can never tell you whether you are going to be one or not.
You show me what an active shooter looks like, I'll tell you what the Taliban looks like.
Well, exactly. And there's no perfect picture of what someone is. Usually what I've noticed is that it is a, I watched this podcast last night. I was up till like 3 a.m. thinking about it. It's called About Violence by Tim Kennedy. He's if you don't know Tim Kennedy,
I know
you got to know.
I know.
If the people listening don't know Tim Kennedy, you have to know Tim Kennedy. But I recommend everybody watch it because I actually, I've purposely avoided it, but I was forced.
Yeah.
I wanted to start watch this podcast and see it, but it was forced down my throat. The truth.
Yeah.
And I never watched the video. All I saw was pictures. I avoided the videos. I didn't want to see.
Dude, the videos that I had to do a TikTok on it. It broke my heart.
Yeah.
When I saw
I know you're super vocal on social media too about the necessity to take care of children, and I want to hear all about your program. There's a lot of different programs out there. So you got, if people don't know what it is, the Guardian program, I think it should be implemented immediately in Washington State.
Absolutely.
And why? Because if you don't think it's going to happen to you and your fucking kids, it can. Like I used to babysit the girl, Zoe. I used to babysit her, and her and my sister used to hang out all the time. They went to elementary school together, right on, not on Grove Street, but the next one over. I'm trying to forget. My past is really fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not go through my trauma of seeing this. I remember what her eyes looked like. Mm-hmm. I remember her laugh as a child in my front room watching the movie Spirit.
Oh my God.
Like I can tell you everything about this young piece of life that was removed from the world by an active shooter. And it's really tough because when I go online, I see a lot of shit. A lot of shit online really bothers me. It seems pretty heartless, heartfelt. Like there's no really connection to society. And I don't get why we're seeing these sarcastic thoughts and prayers posts, right?
Right.
So we often say, as I know we're probably categorized as gun-toting. You know, people probably call me a conservative or a Republican.
Bro,
I'm really not that. I'm just an American.
I've been called white supremacist, dude.
Me too. I think it's my favorite.
What kind of shit? Like, wait a minute.
I've had this house doxxed too.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah, man, by Antifa. So there's a lot of weird things going on in my life.
They know better not to fuck around my area.
I pray they don't try. I really don't. I don't want to do harm to anybody.
You don't want to, but you're going to do what's necessary to protect you and yours.
Yeah. Don't show up, motherfuckers.
Don't
anyway, but like the thoughts of prayer shit really bothers me because how do you sit behind a phone screen when you have zero training, zero equipment, and zero chance of actually stopping something when a human is okay with murdering a child in a school, and they don't give a flying shit about your black and white edict as a government official on a piece of paper. If someone's comfortable breaking that law, I don't think it necessarily means that they're going to be stopped by a law. Like, and if you think that stopping me from carrying I think you said it earlier, how when all the bullets start flying, everything goes out the window. And
everything goes out the window.
You want as many rounds to send back at that target as possible.
Why
would you limit it to 10?
Here's my take on this.
Okay.
You need, in order to eliminate evil, Eddie, you need well-trained, documented, good-hearted individuals to utilize those same tools. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And
those same individuals are our veterans, Eddie. These are the same men and women who are willing to lay down their life because we have a 100% all volunteer service.
Okay.
So that tells me right there that these same individuals already have a heart and passion for people, our country, and things that, well, this isn't too hard for us to figure out. Not only do we already have these individuals available, a lot of these individuals are willing and able to help out. All we have to do is ask.
So I see that you've taken a lot of action in the recent history of your program that you started going on, and I think it's fucking awesome.
It's
2, I want to hear
action.
all about it. And 3, we spend our taxpayer dollars, and we bring in police officers. I say officer as a joke sometimes when I
do the same
pissed
shit.
off. So don't say
Mr. Ossifer.
Mr. Ossifer. I'm sorry.
Yep, I do the same thing.
But we hire these police officers. I know quite a few of them, and I think they're awesome. I think it's really special. I always wanted to be a cop when I was a kid. Growing up, not so much. But it's really difficult for me to stand there, and I watched 8 people. It was their initial response, looks like, as far as security cameras. Get all the way up to there, start taking gunfire, and run to the other side of the hallway. When they first started hearing the gunfire, they knew exactly where their target was. They knew what the target was doing. He was targeting innocent children.
Yeah.
And this was not at middle school or high school. And it doesn't make a difference, but these were like little kids. Like, oh, welcome to your first day of school. Let's take pictures. Like, this is they haven't even stopped that phase yet. The parents haven't even stopped that phase yet. They're sending their kids to a little small school. And I actually learned some other information about this too, because that school is right on the border. And it's really interesting because he walked in the front door post the lockdown being set.
Really?
Yes. 2 people confronted him at his vehicle when he crashed into the ditch in the front. This is all just via what I've seen on the as far as the video goes.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is that people talk about propping doors open was a big thing. The door was fucking closed. It was in a lockdown situation. The door was not locked. There is a lot of things that we do regularly throughout society, like give a Costco card. You have to prove who you are to get in the fucking Costco.
Right.
You have to go and find the office. You can walk around freely inside of our schools in this country, and you can find a school, find any school in this area. And go. I've actually done this post Uvalde shooting to see if anything changed.
Yeah,
I've walked onto, and it was actually to pick up a child though. So don't.
Right.
I'm not some crazy guy.
No. But
I wanted to pick up my wife's little brother, right? And I'm just walking through unarmed, of course, because I followed the pretty little gun sign,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm unarmed and I'm going through the school and I walk to pick him up and I got lost. And I went to where the gym was, where I knew he was. So I knew he was in the gym because an after school activity.
Yeah.
So I'm walking all over the school right before they get out. No one says a word to me. I got a lot of smiles and waves. Nobody there knows me. I'm not on
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the student pickup list, and only one person or three people in the pickup area know what that is, who's on the list. They see us every day.
Yeah.
So I'm walking over to school, and this lady says, "Oh, the office is this way." Yeah, it's over there. They'll tell you where he is. Not what are you here to pick him up for? Not anything like that.
Just
So that to me tells me that it's completely the school is what's called a soft target, and I know you understand what a soft target is.
Absolutely.
I think it would be good to make schools harder targets. We have so many great things that protect our elected officials, our politicians.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have some of them. I don't know if you know Mayor Lori Lightfoot in Chicago.
Yeah. Beetlejuice.
Yes. So during the protest when they were setting fires,
I
the
remember.
ones that turned into riots.
Yeah.
She actually had over I think 20 cops stationed on her street where she lives in her
Yep.
residence. So she used them as like private military force, pretty much.
She said
And-
specifically that people don't need it, but then
Yes.
she went and had her own private.
Yes, she had her own private, and they were all fully armed as well. And I don't know what
Imagine
orders
that.
they were on, but it's really interesting to me that we have all these things in place, and we use guns to protect our elected officials that are being paid by our tax dollars.
Yeah.
What goes to our children? I know a lot of property taxes usually is actually how our school funding, depending on what
That's
state you live in,
sad.
goes to that.
It's sad.
Why are the children not being solidified as the most important thing in the world?
Well,
They're not even fucking military age males.
Eddie, I'm making that change. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I will be the guy
Mhm.
to be very loud on social media and to the public if I have to be. We can keep saying why all we want. Look, I'm doing it right now. That's exactly what my program is. I'm doing it right now. I don't care. Okay, so look, we're talking about the politicians and them saying there's no money, this or whatever. Look, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because meanwhile, we have kids that are taking bullets in the ass, and that's not okay with me.
Yeah.
It's not okay that we have educators taking bullets in the ass. It's not okay that we even have to think that our educators should have to carry when their job is to educate. We have security professionals and military veterans that are willing and able that can do protection work. We already do it. Here's the thing, Eddie. This is the question that most people start to ask me first. As soon as they ask, I shut them down quickly. Okay. What do you mean? Most of the veterans have PTSD and they're crazy, blah 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 blah, right? You're gonna get that pushback. You're gonna get that pushback. Because there are some. I'm not gonna doubt that there aren't.
Mhm.
And not every veteran needs to be protecting kids at school. That's not what I've ever said. Okay? I want to make that real clear. Not every single person should be able to do it. It's just like not every single person can be a cop. Not every single person can be in the military. However, the people that were in the military and now are not are veterans. So they had to pass some kind of background and stuff to be in the military, right? Yeah. So obviously there's things like we can check on their status when they get out of what was their discharge status. Mm-hmm. We can use the VA and the Lacey Veteran Center. They can check their veteran status right there free of charge. That's easy to do. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's the next thing. All right, well, what do you mean? So you don't have any veteran around kids with guns? Who in their right mind first and foremost even said that every veteran needs to have a gun next to a kid? I never once said that. Let's take away these absolute crazy thoughts that these people are throwing out right away, and let me break it down real simple. Okay. In Washington State, and this is what I love, because I'm gonna break this shit down so simple to where people that are listening, they're gonna love this.
Please do.
In Washington State, it is a shall issue concealed carry state.
Yes.
Most people don't even know what the fuck that means.
Instead of a may issue state.
So what that means
I know lawyers who don't know that. I've asked them, they don't know what that means.
What that means is it's real simple. Unless you are disqualified under the reasons that Washington State says, which are domestic violence, DUI, or an illegal gun charge, whatever those three cases, there's like three main ones that they have. Unless you are disqualified from those three things, and you apply for a concealed license and get your fingerprints done, you will be issued a concealed carry license. They will issue it to you. They cannot deny you it.
They issued me one. I'm really happy about it.
You will get issued for it, and it's good for 5 years. Okay. Here's the thing with Washington states. It's also good, and I think in like 26 other states or 28 other states, I think it's also good for. But then there's also
the USCCA gun concealed carry reciprocity map has one on their page.
Yeah,
I can't even pronounce it, but it's on there.
Reciprocity.
Yes, that's the word. So you're smart. There you go.
But well, I have to keep up with this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, we also have the Second Amendment, which regardless is federally ran, and if people really have to fight down to it, if you're only protecting yourself, unless you're toting a gun and flashing around like a fucking idiot, which no responsible gun owner is ever doing, you're never gonna know that I even have a gun on me. First and foremost.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to.
Yeah.
You're not going to. Unless it's a job I'm doing that I am required to carry outside the waistband or something like that. I have an inside the waistband carry that you would never even be able to tell that I'm carrying. You see what I'm saying? So that's
the John Wick one.
No, it's the
where it tucks way into there, so you got to dig your thumb straight on the waistband.
I'm wearing it right now. This is my regular leather holster.
Oh,
you see what I mean?
Okay.
It's like people don't realize it's that simple. It just takes your concealed carry and being an eyes and ears and a deterrent for people.
100%.
Because these crazy people that are trying to attack innocent people are not coming for the places that are hard targets.
100%.
They're coming for the soft targets.
They're cowards.
They know. But I can guarantee you this much. Even if they see me as a target, I would love to have that fight with a coward to try to, take away some kids. Because I'm willing and able. That's the job. I know the job. That's the thing. But here's the thing. I asked you about the crazies. They said about the crazies. These are the same individuals who already have concealed licenses, and they're already here in our communities.
So wouldn't they have already shot up?
Wouldn't they have already done it? No? Wouldn't they have already done it? Why haven't they done it yet?
I think we got to really get rid of that crazy stigma around veterans.
Don't we?
These same crazy motherfuckers are the ones who are making sure your ass doesn't get drafted by signing up.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm also the one who is giving you now a rehab with my own nonprofit to rehab veterans and help save our kids. I did that as a crazy veteran. So go ahead and keep labeling me. I love it when people label me as a PTSD or crazy because I do battle mental health. But I love the ability to battle through and come out stronger every fucking time.
100%. So tell me a little bit about this nonprofit.
All right. Well, originally it started with just me and my buddy wanting to do a podcast.
Okay.
Called All in a Day's Work.
I've heard about it. I heard it's pretty good.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's garbage because it hasn't been refined yet. But but the good thing is I now have everything set up to where all I have to do is hit record and do it. I just have to do it.
Okay.
So it's gonna get better. I promise you that. But I have my own TikTok show and all that. But All in a Day's Work, man.
Goddamn jets, Boeing. I don't know what. This is the first podcast outside, so.
And of course, right as I get into it,
I don't normally do these outside. Normally, do downstairs in like a nice.
Yeah.
It's such a pretty day. Why not?
No, this is perfect, dude. This is awesome. Like, I love this.
So All in a Day's Work.
Yeah, All in a Day's Work. That's the name of the nonprofit. And I think about this name because literally the work that we do as veterans, the work that we do as a people, as Americans, at the end of the day, we're not doing it for the money. We're not doing it for the fame. It's just what we're doing. It's all in a day's work, man. Like, some people thank me for my service, man. It's all in a day's work. I'm doing it because I want to make sure my kids are safe and sound. I love this country, and I want to make sure that your kids are safe and sound too.
It's badass.
It's that simple. It's not. Everybody says it's badass or it's such an inspiration, dude. It's just simple to me. Mm-hmm. Look, I came from absolutely nothing, man. I had a horrific childhood, and I look at my life right now. I got medically retired out of the military against my will, dude. All I wanted to do was be a soldier. Once I started doing it, I was going to the Army Murphy board. That's the highest board the Army has for non-commissioned officers to go to. That is the board. If you get into the Audie Murphy Club, you can do anything you want in the military. Anything. It's the elite club. I went to the brigade level board, and then I got my orders, which We regret to inform you, but you are being medically retired, or going through the medical. You're going through the medical evaluation board. Your injuries have surpassed.
Except your wings, dude. It's fucked.
Dude, and this is after I had already had 5 surgeries on my left foot.
Oh, yeah.
So, backtracking, I remember I told you I got the injury in Afghanistan. I had gone through 2 more explosions in Afghanistan. One of which I was sitting this close with my buddies eating at the dining facility after that first initial attack. We were talking shit to each other about, hey man, you ran like a bitch under the bridge, blah, 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 right? And then we got blown up in the DFAC, and all I remember was hearing that ring. I remember sitting there talking to you, looking at you face to face like I am right now, Eddie. I'm eating my chicken, talking shit to my buddy. We still have all of our gear on because we have to in this area that we are as Fob Warrior. Anybody that's been a Fob Warrior knows what the fuck I'm talking about. And they rocket us. Boom. Blow us up right there in the DFAC, Eddie.
God damn.
Eddie, all I remember was sitting there, and all of a sudden I look up and I'm on the ground. There's food everywhere. My helmet is hanging off of my head. And all I can hear is that ring, that loud popping and ringing, and everything is moving slow. Like you see in the movie, that distortion, it is so like dead on. Because you can't hear. It's like you hear everything, but you can't focus on hearing anything, and everything's a blur, and it's so loud. And I thought I was deaf. But all I remember is I looked up and I saw Rome grabbing his helmet, and he was heading out to the bunker. And all I remember is grabbing my weapon and just like getting up off the ground. My helmet's hanging on my head, and I'm just going out of the door. And boom. And what I saw, Eddie, I would not wish upon some of my worst enemies to have to witness. Like when you see people out of nowhere enjoying a good meal out of and now they have no legs. Polish people that were just there to help you out a mission ago now has no legs. And we have to leave in a few hours, regardless of what's happening right now. We have to leave to go to the next mission, Eddie. This is what it's like in war. So although that was happening, their quick response force at that FOB was taking care of the business and already taking care of it from the time that we got rocketed. So we go back to our trucks, we refuel, and we're out going back to our next mission. The Polish dudes that we was just with, they're still there. We roll out the gate and we're gone back to Kandahar. That's war, Eddie. The same guys that brought us hot chow.
They're all fucked up now.
We're down there getting and the reason they got fucked up is because when we came back into the FOB, I forgot the name. It's like a BTR or something. It's like a striker with a cannon on it or something like that. When they turned in, it tore up that village's electrical line, and it fucked up the Taliban that was there because it's a Taliban village right outside the FOB.
Oh, yeah.
It tore up their shit, and they were pissed. And there's mountains right there around it. It's the stupidest place to put a fucking FOB. They tore it down.
There's a lot of stupid FOBs I've heard about, man. It's not good.
When I went back in 2014, they tore it down, and they named it Apache, FOB Apache. And it was way different. They completely leveled that entire area from when I was there in 2010 to 2014. They leveled it, completely took it over, and they beefed it up.
Okay.
But when I was there in 2010, 2011, it wasn't like that. The Taliban were still right there. So the Polish tore it up. They were pissed off, and they went up there and they rocketed us because they were mad because we tore up their electrical.
Yeah.
It was literally 2 rockets. That was it. That's all they had. And they were pissed off that we tore their electrical. They shot it from us, and then they left. That was it. But it was enough to fuck us up. And if it wasn't for the striker that we had parked in the entryway of the DFAC, I would be dead right now. Because
I'm glad you're here, man.
The initial hit the end of the striker, which took the main of the blast. If it wasn't for that being there, it would have hit right in the where the DFAC entry was, and all that metal, I would have been shredded cheese, man.
Shit.
if it wasn't for the striker taking the initial blast.
I'm glad I took it instead of you, man, because you're doing a lot of crazy
Dude,
ass
I don't
stuff, man.
understand. I made it through. That was the second explosion I went through. The third one was in a truck, and that was just simple. Hit the back of the truck. But I don't know, man.
Yeah, simple getting blown up. Damn, so you definitely got blown up a few times, man. Thanks for not dying, so we can talk about this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for not dying. That's the first I've heard.
Thanks for not dying. So your program has a lot to do with working with, obviously, with law enforcement.
Yeah.
You don't want to, you know, a lot of law enforcement officers might have an ego, or just might want to make sure they're still doing their part, and they want to coordinate with people who might be protective of them. What was that like for you?
Let me explain that real quick, because I think all that egotistical law enforcement hating on people, I think all that is fueled and made up, bro. Because
what's it like in your experience?
My experience, well, let me tell you this. When I first started doing what I do, like with the veteran Overwatch thing, I did not warn the police first what I did. I told the city manager and city hall about my program and what I was going to do, right? And they did not take me serious at all. They kind of laughed at me and shoved me out the door. And I was like, okay, whatever, motherfuckers. This is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Right?
They laughed
so I showed, yeah. Wow. So then the following week, I show up at the school armed and ready to protect
how close
the school.
To the school was it?
I was right there at the fence.
So you're out there at the front
at the front entry of the school.
Okay.
At the front entry of the school. Armed and ready with my sign, my hand-drawn sign, Veteran Overwatch, keeping our kids safe.
Yeah, I love that sign, man. It's fucking sick.
I got better sign now, but I was sitting there and I knew, I was like, this is going to be a risk. This can go one of two ways. One, they're gonna obviously there's gonna be calls. I knew there was gonna be calls.
There's a black guy with a gun,
black guy with a
combat attire,
exactly, outside of the school, and this is 2 weeks after Uvalde.
Yeah,
right. So I knew calls were gonna come in, and I took a risk. I knew, look, this is gonna go one of two ways. They're gonna come at you at really aggressive, or they're going to just try to evaluate and see what's going on. I know for a fact I have not broken any laws.
Because you didn't step on the school grounds.
Because I was not on the school grounds, right? I have not broken any laws. So legally in the state of Washington, they could not even stop and ask me anything because they don't have probable cause because I haven't broken any laws.
Yeah, they don't have PC.
So the calls were going to come in. So that left it up to the school it forced the school. I already knew this ahead of time. It forced the school to have to send somebody out to come talk to me because they're not going to send an officer out to come talk to me.
Oh no, because
I haven't broken any law.
You haven't brandished a deadly weapon even. So
well, no, my weapon was on the side of my hip.
Yeah,
but I'm not acting. I'm like I said, I'm just sitting there in my chair, right?
Yeah,
with the reflective vest on. I'm literally telling you, look at me. The first day I did this, I'm telling you, look at me.
Okay, so the first day is just a reflective vest, not a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, first day it was. I had a bulletproof vest underneath my shirt, my t-shirt,
but it's concealed.
Yeah, it was concealed.
Yes.
With a yellow reflective vest saying security on the back from when I used to work security. Okay.
Okay.
That's what I was sitting at. Literally saying, "Look at me what I'm doing." I'm literally telling you, call somebody. Okay. That in my mindset, I'm telling you, call somebody.
All right.
So this forces the assistant principal of the school to come out and talk to me. He comes out with his radio, cautious, of course, and I explain to him what I'm doing in a very calm tone. And he's a prior vet as well. And his response was so warming and welcoming to me and what I was doing. He forgot to call in on his radio and tell the staff that he was okay. Oh, so it's funny because...
So you didn't send the school in a lockdown?
No. Okay. Not at all. So, because we're just chatting it up. At this point, he's so calm. We're chatting for 20 minutes. The principal comes out on the radio with her little...
So they sent out the vice principal. Oh, no.
So she comes out.
If anyone's going to go first, it's you.
Yeah. So
Dan, get out there.
Yep, pretty much. So she comes out with her little nail opener, right? And
with a knife?
It's a little, like, a nail, because they're not allowed to have a knife on school, but it's a letter opener.
She's ready to get after it. Good for her.
So she brought it as her... I'm laughing as she's walking up cautiously. And so the assistant principal He goes, "Oh no, it's fine. Shoot, I'm sorry, I forgot to call it red. Everything is fine. He's fine. He's fine." She's like, "Okay." So she comes over, starts talking to me as well, and I was like, "Real quick, I gotta ask you, what are you gonna do with that nail file?" I start laughing.
Please don't stab me.
She's like, "Well, you never know." I was like, "Ma'am, I'm wearing Kevlar. What are you gonna do?" And I start tapping on. So the three of us were out there cracking up,
Cooking
laughing,
and joking, yeah.
20 more minutes go by. She forgets to call on the radio that she's. I kid you not.
So we got a domino effect.
So she's like, she realized because they said like one of the other teachers, "Is everything okay?" She's like,
Did this teacher have a gun?
No, she didn't have shit. She
Okay.
was just like, "Is everything okay? You guys are still talking?" And she goes, "Oh no, everything is fine. And, we're so glad that you're here now that they know everything is fine." And then they started becoming not routine, but because I wanted to be random when I show up. But then other parents are like, "What the fuck is going on?" They took the picture, it went all over Facebook and whatnot.
Oh yeah, you're popular. You're real popular.
Here's the thing. I didn't realize until today is the first day it hit me that I'm pretty popular in the city, because I went to my appointment right before I came here, right? And I'm checking out for my appointment and setting up my next appointment. And the lady's sitting there looking at me, and she's like, "So I just gotta ask, like, have they like hired you full time at the schools yet and whatnot?" I was like, "Do you know who I am?" And she goes, "Honey, everybody in the town knows who you are."
Hey, you really thought you was incognito, huh?
Bruh.
Not a chance, sir. Not a chance.
I'm rolling around. I'm just like happy, like, "Hey everybody, how you got?" Like acting like nobody knows shit, and I keep getting
people ask me how I carry my gun. I said I always say incognito.
Incognito.
Like, what the hell racist shit is that? I'm like, no,
bruh.
It's hidden in a black space, incognito.
Hey,
and they can't.
It's a good joke, bro.
They keep laughing.
I love it. The woke culture can't handle that.
Oh, you know what? The woke culture loves me. I am the most awake. I'm awake. I've been awake since 3 a.m. Yes, I'm the wokest. Yes,
hey, they can't fight it, can they?
Yes, I'm so tired.
But no, but it's really cool, man. So I
all
get
these people are
yeah,
coming out, and they're all trying
out.
to like set levels of defense in the school without going to lockdown, without calling the cops. All at once.
So the cops have been called.
Oh, they have.
By one of the concerned parents.
Oh, yeah. Course, yeah, I'm sure.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But
because there's a stigma about guns being harmful.
And this is a blue state.
Yes, very blue.
However, I live in a pretty right of center county.
Yeah. Life is good.
So, and I know my laws. I haven't broken any laws. I knew they weren't going to send a deputy out because I had already seen Deputy Rose at the school.
Yeah, and you're not there to harm people.
I'm not there to harm people. And I'm literally saying I'm here to keep my kids safe.
Yeah, and you'd rather die than allow them to, get hurt.
So me and my canine were standing there. My canine Roscoe.
And you have a canine.
Got too. Canine Roscoe, purebred German Shepherd, 98 pounds.
Is this the MWD by chance?
I'm not gonna go into what he's capable of doing.
Okay.
I'm just gonna let you know he is
a very pretty dog.
Very pretty dog. He is full service.
Yes, full service. All right.
Multi-purpose service animal for me, and I'm also training Jade to take his place here this year. Anyway, but so I'm standing there and I have my sign, and obviously I'm not there as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
After school lets out, the staff leaves, the principal comes out and shakes my hand, tells me thank you, and he said, "So you're gonna be here tomorrow?" And I'm like, "I can't be.
I cannot disclose this information."
So I go, "I can be. Would you like me to?" He's like, "I'm just saying, absolutely." He's like, I don't care if the school board cares. I was like, "Don't worry about the school board. I'll take care of the school board."
The school board? You mean the people that just sit in chairs and meet? And
I was like,
do they get paid to do that shit?
I don't even know.
I don't even know what
I don't even know. I think it's part of their salary as administrators. You know what I mean? Because they're salaried.
So it's mandatory meetings. They're not shut up there because they're excited like you are.
They're salaried employees. Okay. You know what I mean? So, but I'm like, I can be, So I started building that relationship with them and the parents, and now the parents are like, "Yeah, we bring you water, coffee, donut." And now it's like, now I go to the high school as well. That's even worse. But the
high school.
Bro, I'm out there with goal worksheets and these kids. I've developed a relationship.
Goal worksheets,
bro.
So wait a minute.
I'm like their uncle. Hold on. I'm like their uncle. I'm like the city uncle.
Developed a relationship with these children, and they can trust you,
bro. I can show you one of my TikTok videos. Mm-hmm. I have this dude. He comes out there every lunch break, and he'll sing with me. He'll sing for us on there. It is amazing. I'm like I call it like their neighborhood mentor.
Uh-huh.
And before summer started, I had about 20 kids out there with goal worksheets, working on goals for the summer before they can go into. And this is all I told. Hey, look, I brought some goal worksheets, and I
And
want
you're
you
not
guys.
like this college graduate. You're just a
No.
human being.
Well, no, I am.
Who
I'm
cares?
certified in resiliency.
Oh.
So there's I'm a master resiliency trainer.
Okay.
I went through the course while I was it's one of the greatest courses I went through in the military.
Okay.
And this is why I'm so able to effectively communicate and articulate things with people because of this class. It helped me as a leader and grow.
Okay.
So I can tell you a story and make you forget what you actually initially asked me by going on to something. It's easy for me to go on a tangent, right? It's one of the effective communication skills you develop as a leader in the military when you're trying to influence other people as a mentor, right?
I think I've done these subconsciously for a while. So.
Right. But this helps you hone in on those skills to a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Just receptive information, picking out the important information of what you're telling me in our conversation and pushing out the stuff that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. In order to maintain that effective level of communication. So I'm able to do that pretty well. And I love that they sent me to this course because now I'm out of the military with these skills. I have all the packets, the books, I can train this stuff. I'm certified for life to do this. And I have my credentials. So I said, well, why not start doing that, but in a way that I can reach everybody? So I started doing TikTok videos, linking to my All in a Day's Work profile through my nonprofit. So everything I do is voluntary based. And I take donations and I sell some of the t-shirts and stuff to help keep the website up and running and stuff like that.
And for gas money.
Yeah,
Lord knows how fucking expensive gas is.
That's really what's been helping me out right now. And it's not much because people think, oh, you're rich. No, I'm not rich, dude. I live off my fucking disability from the VA.
And you donate your time.
And I donate my free time to doing this. That's all it is. That's all it is. And
you're also putting your life directly in the line of fire.
And that's the thing. And there are a few people who have helped me out with some gas money donations. And that's right there on my website, allinadays.com. There's a link. They just click on it and you can just donate right there. Anything, any amount, or purchase a t-shirt if you want, and I'll sign it for you. Or
y'all, if you're listening to this shit, honestly,
that's how I make this thing work.
100%. But y'all, if you're listening to this and you dig what he's doing, please get online. $1, $2. It's $6 a gallon right now. Minimum. Please donate to my brother.
I run premium.
Hey, please donate to my brother because you're really doing great things. So you're out there with a dog, and you and your animal are willing to put yourself directly in the line of fire, and you do it completely free of charge.
Free of charge, man.
You're
well, I have
like service beyond the normal.
So here's the thing: I have parents that will reach out to me. They'll send me an email. Hey, I'm a concerned parent. My kid goes to such and such school in this area. By any chance, could you swing by there for an hour? Just absolutely.
Show
presence. And I'll do that.
Projection of power.
Yeah, and I'll do a video for them, and I'll send it to them, and I'll do it on TikTok, and it goes out to the world.
Yeah,
instantly.
That's badass. Is that because they're usually concerned about an incident or words being said? Because a lot of these active shooters,
right now it's everybody's on edge after Uvalde. Every single parent is on edge. No parent, I've asked every single parent. A lot of parents are not sending their kids back to public school because of all the woke stuff, for one. But after Uvalde, they're like, I'm done. I would rather just homeschool. And that's sad. I'm trying to show that because there's a lot of people that cannot do that. So what do I say to the people that have to go back to public school that are still just as concerned but can't do homeschool? What do I say to them? Tough it up? No. I'm going to pick up the slack that our police officers cannot do because they're overworked and understaffed. In our state, in Washington State,
they're stretched thin as hell.
They're stretched so thin that they can't even afford to do. They're doing overtime just to cover the normal duties that they have. That's sad. We have 300,000 people in my county, Eddie, and seven patrol officers.
No,
in our
way.
7
Ask
on
them
patrol.
If they'll take me. I just don't ask me what I've done in my life. And
I'll
sign up.
That's working overtime, Eddie.
That's insane, man.
So that's why I'm working with Derek Sanders. He's really helping me push this program for our county.
Isn't he running for sheriff?
He's running for sheriff
in
Thurston County,
I believe.
Yep.
I really like some of the stuff he says. He's an honest person.
Independent,
Looks like he got a big heart.
Huge heart. He's local, independent, huge heart, and he actually about making positive change where he sees stagnant stuff in the area, and that's what I love. It's like, all right, look, the new directive came out this year, or this year, House Bill 1054, where they're not allowed to do police chases and all that stuff anymore here in our state, right? Yeah. So
that was it.
he said,
I can run away from a cop and they can't chase me.
You're allowed to do that here unless they have probable cause that they've seen you do a felony. That's sad.
It's sad.
So here's the thing: that he came to our meeting and he said, the sheriff, because the sheriff can amend those things.
Mhm.
The sheriff that is currently sitting in Thurston County actively said, "Nope, this is what they voted for. That's what they get. We're not gonna do it."
You don't throw in the towel just because shit's hard.
That's exactly
It's
what
a
he
bad
did.
attitude, man.
That's the horrible attitude. And Derek was like, "Wait a minute. So we're just gonna let these people just do what they want, drive drunk, and we're not gonna stop them?" Nope.
Sheriff Forney is Snohomish County Sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he's been outspoken since the beginning. He's like, this is ridiculous. We can't sit behind our office doors. He's not always out there on the streets, right? We can't sit behind our office doors and allow our citizens to be victims and to glorify it as like we're doing a good job.
Exactly. Well, the thing that people fail to realize is your sheriff has an obligation in the county, right? The greater good, the greater outskirts of the county, right? Obviously, the cities aren't going to be able to pick up. But here's the thing: the areas within the cities that the city cannot pick up, the sheriff has an obligation to.
Hell yeah.
That's the thing. They have an obligation to. And the sheriff should be doing things that doesn't even have to cost extra money right now to the department. If which is not here. Not in there's so much money here in Washington. It's not an issue. But if it was an issue here, why wouldn't you open up your reserve program and let's build this program right now?
Yeah.
Because the sheriff can absolutely right now deputize me and you. The sheriff could deputize us and make us do our own program right now. Has the power to do that. And we could be deputized and allowed in every single school. He could do that right now. With the blink of a fucking, that's all he has to do is say, yes, this is what I want to do, and start the reserve program.
I know a lot of people that'll say they'll give up one day a week to out of their time.
Okay, so here's the thing. Derek Sanders is saying, well, if he gets elected, this is what he's doing. We're going to make it happen so we can actually pay our veterans to do that, and we get benefits, double benefits for our veterans, and they're getting paid for their time. Plus, now they have backup from the local law enforcement, the same training and ability to use their stuff. Okay, so now we're building the bridge between veterans, the community, and our law enforcement.
Sounds like we're community building.
And we're protecting our most vulnerable, our kids, at the same time. So we're building up our community. We're protecting our kids. We're saving veterans' lives because now we're providing a new purpose for them that they might not have since they got out of the military.
Veteran suicide is going to go down.
That's what I'm trying to get that 22 plus to 0, bro.
Yeah, man. I think it can really happen.
That's my goal.
And a big part of, something that applies for not just vet suicide, but for like as a community and these kids, and it's scary, dude, going on Facebook and see, I'm part of a lot of parent groups. I'm not a parent at all.
Yeah.
I'm part of a lot of parent groups for a reason, because I want to know what's going on in this fucking area, man.
Yeah.
It's terrifying how many Bothell,
dude,
the nice area, Snohomish County, all these schools that keep going into lockdowns after Uvalde because of copycat situations.
Right.
And I'm going to read off some of
they're not
these
trained
statements that are similar. Yeah.
These guys are not trained to deal with this stuff. Like here's the thing. Suspicious package drills and stuff like that. I can tell you right now, a lot of these local law enforcement stuff, they're not trained and ready to deal with that stuff to the level that I could as a combat engineer who knows packages and bombs like the inside and out. I know that like the back of my hand. I know other combat engineers here that can help me. But we're not being used.
I think it's a travesty.
Well, think about this. All in a day's work, my program, all of our veterans, why not use all of us in our skills, our MOS skills, and just use it? It's not like our own military, but we're just utilizing our own skills together as a community resource.
Community resources are essential. I think I think that's why I think these Facebook groups are a huge resource as well. Because I'm watching all these moms saying, "Don't send your kids to school tomorrow." There was an active shooter threat in Bothell, Snohomish, wherever it's at. And these comments are not different than what the Parkland shooters usually was posting on the internet. And I want to share some of these with you because I was, I've had a brother who was almost in an active shooter situation. Thank God the cops got him. I've lost family members. I thought my sister was dead during the Marysville Pilchuck High School shooting. I'm going to read these off to you, man. So this is back in 2017, before the Parkland shooting. When I'm 21, I'm going to kill people. July 3rd, 2017. In 2020, you'll hear me on the news doing this.
Jeez.
July 3rd. So July 4th, 2017. On the night of my massacre, you're not going to forget Elliot May, you rip. I don't know. I don't know. It's just insanity to me. July 4th. It makes me happy to see people die with a smiley face. July
What
4th,
the
2017. I love to see families suffer. July 4th, 2017. I want to kill people. Spelled want wrong. There's an H in there. Probably because he's going to fucking hell. But July 4th, I want to kill people. July 5th, I think about killing people, though, with an E at the end. THO. E.
And these are all posts that public posts
These
that he
are
made?
publicly. So these are just Facebook search warrant.
Wow.
These are public posts that somebody does, and this is happening all over with our misguided youth. I really, I was waiting to talk to you first. That's why I didn't go to the council meeting on Monday. I was waiting to talk with you. What are some of the things that we can do to implement other than what you're doing? Because I'm 100,000% on board with what you're doing, man. I don't know anybody who's in their right mind that shouldn't be. Obviously we got to go through strict procedures to make sure that we're not putting guns in the hands of bad guys right next to our soft targets that we have in the state. Other than making our schools hard targets, what can we do with our youth? We're seeing a lot of these people. They're broken young men. What can we do to change that?
I think I wear a shirt all the time that says "Make men men again." And I want to get another shirt that says "Make women women again" too. Not to dismiss or discredit any of the trans or people who are unidentified or anything like that. If they're still struggling with that, that's cool. Until they find themselves, I want them to be them, and be comfortable with where they are. But I think our men and our women who just want to be men or women should not be chastised for being that. And we have to be able to identify that being okay at a young age is still okay. So, like, I have 2 young daughters. Right? I want them to understand that they are women and they can be women. That's okay to be a woman at a young age, and we have to toughen them up too. This idea that the world is so soft and everyone should be nice and kind and there's no harm out there and all that's not real.
There's harm.
There's been harm since the time before forever. We have always been harming each other as a people because there are those individuals who are not. So here's the thing, Eddie. I put this out there the other day and I got a lot of response from this on my live show. People are not inherently evil. Not at all. Not at all. And if they were, you would see them trying to drive erratically and crazy, killing each other on the highway every single day. But you know why you don't? Because everyone's just trying to get to where they need to be and not worrying about anybody else's bullshit until the one guy who doesn't pay attention on the road, which causes traffic. But if people were inherently evil, wouldn't that be the perfect opportunity to make a massive amount of killings right there on the highway? Every single day we drive on the highway, thousands upon thousands of people every single day. And we're not actively trying to hurt each other. So that tells me that we're not inherently evil. Thousands upon thousands of people every day going to work and going to the mall, not actively trying to hurt each other with the 17 million guns that we have in our country. There's more there's more than 17 million.
There's so many, dude.
I was going to say, there's more guns than there are people in this country. So, first of all, if that was the case, or if guns were so bad, then how come the guns aren't killing more people? There's more guns than there are people. Then by their weird thinking, there should be no more people.
Yeah, because we got a lot of bad seeds. There's bad seeds in every occupation.
Seeds.
There's bad seeds everywhere. Not all.
So you asked about the youth. Either. Let's educate our youth. Let's stop teaching this stupid doctrine of bullshit that they're never going to use in school. Let me be honest with you. I've never used calculus or trigonometry in my life. There are certain things about school that I think we're wasting kids' time on. Certain sciences and things, unless kids want to excel in that avenue, we should not be forcing our kids to go through certain science classes. I want to be real with you. I think it's wasting time because it didn't resonate with me at all. And I've never once had to use a covalent bond or none of that shit in my life, or had to split an atom, or what happens under a microscope with 2 cells. I'm not a scientist. It's never interested me.
The only time mucous membranes help me is explaining to people how COVID can still affect you even with a mask on.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's scary stuff.
I'm saying, I'm going to be real with you. I don't care about atoms. I don't have to split an atom. I'm not going to go through and try, hey, can I just get a microscope and look through that? I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I never have been. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. So why don't we utilize our children like we used to do prior to World War II? This changed after World War II. Prior to World War II, they had schoolhouses, not these standard schools that we have now. We had schoolhouses
within. A lot more broken up.
Well, no, it was one teacher with these kids from the age of first grade until fucking high school or whatever. In these small towns at the schoolhouse, and they had 12 kids with that one teacher. That's how things were prior to World War II. World War II, all the young men and boys go off to war. Women are picking up working in the workforce. Who's educating the kids? We have to send the kids somewhere and still teach them. So that's when these bigger schools were implemented. It was during the World War II.
Okay.
It's not necessary today. Between all the online school that you can get and everything that you can, there's things that I can learn. I can learn all that same stuff, a covalent bond and all that shit
on Khan Academy
on a real quick 5-minute YouTube lesson.
Oh yeah.
Real quick. I don't need to go to college or high school to learn that. I don't. This is where we are in 2022. We don't need to. Let's be honest. We don't. So why not teach these kids actual skills that they can use to be productive adults? How to fucking fight, how to defend themselves, how to change a fucking tire, how to do their taxes. Why aren't we teaching these kids how to buy a home? How to strategically do things from a young age and set yourself up? Why aren't we teaching actual nutrition to our kids?
Nutrition.
Why aren't we teaching?
Yeah, no, that's one huge thing.
Why aren't we actually doing physical exercise and not just some fucking fat ass gym teacher telling them to do dodgeball every day? Why aren't we actually teaching exercise? If we're going to force our kids to go to school, why don't we actually teach them shit that's going to actually make them productive members of society? Not just some catered, well, if you don't do your math, you're never going to be anything. Because the idea for me, when I was growing up, yeah, if you don't go to college, you're not going to be shit. Well, okay, well, I just started a nonprofit and I'm pretty fucking successful in my life. And I didn't go to 1 ounce of college.
And you're making a difference in a life other than yourself.
So go ahead, teacher. All those teachers that told me I'm not going to make anything, I love to tell, hey, look at me now.
I stopped by my high school after I got out of the Navy.
I would love to go back there now, but I don't have it in my heart to, because I'm not the kind of person that wants to rub it in their face.
Well, I wanted to remind them that there's still hope. And I told them that. I said, you used to tell me I was not going to be shit when I grew up. And I want to remind you of something. You can't sit here and judge me based off of what I look like or what you think I might do in my free time.
Or what I did in my past.
My story's not done being written. And you trying to break down another child, who's to say I wasn't the next active shooter when I was a kid?
Bro.
Don't push me down, douchebag.
But no, I didn't really, say that. But if it wasn't for my, think about the story I told you earlier. If it wasn't for my recruiter that went through the depths of hell to look out for me, because he didn't have to, I'd be in jail to this day, Eddie.
And that would suck, man.
So just think about that. And he's on my TikTok, and I see him every once in a while on TikTok, and shout out to him.
Yeah, awesome, man.
He is an amazing dude. Shout out to Brad. Brad, man, thank you so much. If you get to hear this, thank you so much. But that was like the big process, bro. Is just to get out there in the community and show people we can actually do this. Start with and if you want to actually implement change in your community, start with your local sheriff. Make that community bond. They make that relationship. Go to the sheriff with a plan that could work. That's not breaking the laws until they can deputize you and implement a proper plan. That's what I'm doing. So until I get deputized and we have this actual plan with the sheriff's department, we will stay on the outsides of the school grounds as a deterrent and go to the parks and go to stuff like that. And they've invited me to all the public events, the fairs and all that stuff. I've been doing all that. That's been great. Yeah. That's been awesome.
I'd love to get on down with you and see what that's like, man. And also talk to your sheriff buddy, because if they were to implement something like Veteran Overwatch over here in our region, all these schools that are soft targets, they wouldn't be soft targets anymore.
JBLM is right here.
Yeah.
They have that reintegration program for soldiers that are getting out. Let me get them first before they end up on the streets.
Yeah, and they do end up on the fucking
streets. But so before they get to the streets, let me talk to them at all in a day's work. I promise I'll find a purpose for them before they end up on the street. I can guarantee you that. All I need is for them to just talk to me. All I need to do is just talk to them. I can talk to anybody.
So, talking to people, I've seen you've had quite a few conversations. You've received a little bit of backlash, and when I say a little bit, I mean probably a lot of backlash for the things you do surrounding your program that you're working on. You're trying to reinvent literally the wheel, and the wheel is a false stigma of veterans being broken, not able to do positive things, and also that guns are bad. I saw some dude, and you replied to it, and you were very positive about it because you understand that this must have been somebody in a low spot to say some shit like this. He told you to eat a bullet.
He did.
What does that like? How do you respond so coolly to this? And
well,
I know that you're probably gonna say it's about what I'm doing.
No.
But damn,
it's
like
not.
Eat a bullet. That's
right. So Here's the thing. I know they always say all like the big level content creators and stuff. They say don't go to the comments. Don't go to the comments. But I go to the comments.
Hey man,
I go to the comments.
I go to the comments.
But listen, here's the reason I go to the comments is because I know out of the flood of good comments that come in, there's gonna be one or two that slip through that are not so good.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking for the authentic ones that look like these people are actually meaning what they say behind what they're saying. There are some that are trolls that just to be trolls, and I will actually look at their account to see if they're even worth it.
Yeah.
If they're even worth a response. But the one I looked at that time, it looked legit, and I think that person was just upset, right?
Yeah.
So
Just mad at the
they
world.
said eat a book. So when I first saw that comment, it hit me hard for a second. I was like, really? Like, I'm out here risking my life for your kids that I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this. Like, I could just sit back and just do TikTok all day if I want to, but I'm volunteering my time. So I looked at that comment and I sat on it for a day. I sat on it. I didn't even tell anybody else about it at first, and I took the comment and I saved it, and I went to sleep. I just went to sleep, and I said, I'm just going to sit on this.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I don't want to portray, and my TikTok is 100% positivity and logic. So when I say logic is, I will say things that are common sense that might hurt your feelings, but it's not meant to hurt your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It's just straight fact, common sense. Like what I said my last video. Some people still think that Joe's in charge, and I laughed,
Let
and that was
eat
it.
his ice cream.
Right? You know what I mean? And that was it. It was just quick, right? And all the comments are like, "Oh, this is so facts. Like everything's fact." You know what I mean? So it's like I know what I'm doing means something, and I'm trying to promote positivity. If I respond negatively to that comment, that's what they want. That first of all, that's what that person wanted. They wanted me to respond negatively to make them more noticed. That's what that is.
Your bottom feeders, they
Yeah.
want you to be down there with
So
them.
they want me to respond to that negatively and let other followers of mine see me react to them, and then they're going to jump on that train. All that's doing is making them more popular.
Mhm.
That's all that does. I'm not going to give them that satisfaction. So I call them out and I do the opposite. I use the reverse psychology. It's like, I see your comment here. And you know what? It hurt. But at the end of the day, you probably told me that in the heat of the moment of you being upset or whatever I said. I don't remember exactly what I said.
Yeah.
But my mindset about it is still the same. It's look, I still love you the same, even if you're telling me that, because I guarantee that person would not tell me that face to face. I guarantee it. I 100% guarantee it. I wish anybody would come up to me face to face and tell me something like that. But when I go out into the regular real world here in society, there's nobody going to tell me that.
No.
It's not happening. And if a person would tell me that
That's fucked.
face to face, they're going to accept the repercussions that come with that statement face to face. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On the keyboard, anybody can be a warrior and say whatever they want. So that's why I let it be known. It's like, look, dude, you can say whatever you want. I value, because I have to understand and value free speech. So I have to understand. I tell them, I understand that you have free speech, and I respect your ability to say what you want, even if it's negative. It doesn't affect me. I'm not gonna eat a bullet, and I love you the same. I would still have your back if bullets were flying and you were here vulnerable. I would still have your back. I wouldn't think to the comment, even if you were there with me, and I knew that you posted that comment. If bullets were flying and I knew you were vulnerable, and maybe you're just a 17-year-old kid, I don't know who that kid was or who that person was. It could be a bot. You know what I mean? It could be a 17-year-old kid that just got dumped by his girlfriend. I don't know. We have 330 million people in our country. I don't know what kind of day everybody's having.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that person could have made that comment to me in the heat of the moment. You see what I mean? Now, if I had a flood of comments like that, I would think it was just all trolls. But that was one of the few negative comments that I have. The thousands upon thousands of comments that have been coming in have all been positive. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I think that's just a person that was mad or upset about something that had nothing to do with me.
A lot of people take social media as like something that is just all fake and shit. I really take it as how people sometimes is how people I interact honestly with people. So if I don't like somebody, I'll be like, and they'll come say, hey, you want to come over? I'm like, I don't like you. And I'll tell them why though. I don't have a lot of reasons for not liking people, but it's hard for me to be facetious or just fake or lie or pretend I like you on social media. And a lot of people do think it's a false reality and say whatever the fuck they want to say.
Yeah.
Like I really had to bolster up my home when people were saying they're going to show up here and kill me because I'm a white supremacist or some weird shit like that. I got all these sorts of messages all throughout 2020 because I was in the military and people were just going after people. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, do you not see that I'm black? Like, you better, like, I don't know what's wrong with. They're like, well, you're a white supremacist, and we're gonna come to your house, and I'm like, all right, if that's what the fuck it is what. So I let the police department know that if somebody showed up at my house and I have a gunfight, then it is that it's because of this douchebag, and they're like, oh my god, like. All our officers are getting this too, and I said, okay. Well, are you gonna bother me if I defend I let you know I'm gonna defend myself, and make sure you file the report, and whatever happens. Like that bolster my own defense. I bought body armor for me and my wife. I bought the guns. I have the ammo. I did the training. I train every day now. 10 minutes a day will keep the devil away because I know I'm going to hell. But
no, it really will. And that's what I always tell people when they ask me about my program. How do you know you guys are going to be qualified to do so? So you do realize most of us train more than your local officers do, right?
Oh yeah.
They were like, huh? And Derek, he was like, yeah, we go to the range maybe once a year if we're lucky. I was like, yeah, see, I'll go to the range every chance I fucking get.
Yeah.
I was like, and I will continue. If I can't go to the range, I have laser fires and dry fires at my house. Yeah. I train every day.
Oh
yeah. Every day. And they were like, they looked at me like, really? I was like, every day. I was like, when I get up, before I even holster up, I start to do my drill every single day. It's normal to me. It's
draw and target acquisition are the two. That's how you start. Right. Like, and the OODA loop is essential as well.
It is. Most people don't even understand.
Most people don't even know what the fuck OODA is.
Well, when you think about that and how things always revert back to, and this is constant cycle, right? I love that because we're always going to evolve and have new problems that arise, and how are we going to develop and work through these problems? We don't know until we get there. We have no fucking idea. However, we do recognize patterns.
Oh yeah,
we humans. Do, and humans are very pattern oriented.
Oh yeah,
right.
And you always fall back to your standard of training, always
every single time. Yeah. You're gonna fall back to your roots.
I'm not gonna rise to the occasion, motherfucker.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, and that's what most people are so depressed and frustrated about. It's like, what are you just sitting there waiting at home? Like, go work out or something. Like, do you really think that you're just gonna sit here and surprise? All of a sudden you're famous. All of a sudden you're gonna have it. All of a sudden you're. Come on now, it doesn't work like that. You have to go out there and grind and do something to make yourself better.
100%.
And when you got called a white supremacist in 2020, I was working downtown in Seattle at Boeing doing their security. Down, and then with all the chop and the chaz and all that bullshit that was going down.
I got shot at by a couple people there.
That shit was nuts.
Yeah, it was wild.
And
I was a new concealed carry person too, so I was a little jumpy at first.
I can't believe that they allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
The thing for me that
I heard the gunshots ring out when they killed that kid that was all over the news crying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. He was
They didn't allow the fucking the cops in there. To go in there,
at least let in the EMTs.
They didn't allow them to come in either.
Yeah, y'all ain't special. Like, yeah, that's tough. That's tough shit, dude.
But my the way I look at this, dude, is if I can. I mean, I've already talked to Jacob and Cassie, who work with me right now too. There are 2 other veterans that have been working with me.
Oh yes.
And my goal right now is 22 veterans. I got 2 right now. If I can get 20 more veterans that want to be a part of this program here in Washington State, then I believe that I've just saved 22 different people. Possibly. It's possible that we could save 22 different people and then inspire 22 other veterans in our state and keep that thing growing. That's my goal. Because 22 plus veterans taking their lives every single day is a problem.
It definitely is.
I've lost my friends and my soldiers to suicide, and that bothers me. Because this is the greatest country on earth, and yet we have the best of our best. Our brothers and our sisters, mothers and daughters, friends, teachers, uncles, taking their lives after serving.
After they survived all this crazy
After
shit.
They've survived. So that tells me that there's a bigger problem here, because I know the reality, and you know just as well. When you got out of the military, it was thank you for your service. If you need anything, call the VA. That's it. And that is the fucking reality here. And that does not sit right with me.
100%.
That's what my program is all about, Eddie. Allinadays.com. I have resources there for veterans. You click on the resource tab, a whole slew of resources there for veterans. It's all there. All you gotta do is click on it.
That's awesome, man.
It's all there, man.
Well, it is definitely all in a day's work.
It's all it is, brother.
Absolutely. Well, I do appreciate you having you coming on here and making the trek. And next time I'm going to make the trek to you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, bro.
I'm so excited to sit here and listen to not just your story and your experiences, but how you're taking your, I don't know, you're taking a real call to action, and you're also calling for more action amongst other people who are remaining stagnant in, I don't know if there's anything that can unite us. A lot of people say I'm like a conservative right-wing Republican or some shit. I'm none of that shit. I'm American.
I'm an ideas guy.
If I'm a liberal, I'm the liberal from the 70s. If anything,
I'm an ideas guy.
It. I can't believe that we're all not agreeing on simple shit.
Simple shit.
If you're not an expert, talk to an expert about violence and figure out how to combat violence.
Exactly.
Like, we do counterintelligence. We do counterinsurgencies. And we have to combat violence against our youth.
I want to make a quick message real quick. People have to learn and realize it's not up to the government to protect and save you from everything. You need to be able to protect yourself and train yourself.
Yeah.
Don't rely on the government to be your savior, because right now the government is doing a very, very good job at messing things up. And I'm not really big on putting all of my chips on something that is, well, showing a track record of loss.
Absolutely. It is definitely showing a track record of loss. I'm just going to put out a couple resources for people that want to get trained. You don't need to be a superstar at enacting violence, and bringing it to people who need to have violence done upon them. If you're a sober, moral, prudent, and just individual, and you need to know what a justified shooting is versus not shooting. Unless otherwise, you will be a murderer as far as society's eyes, and you're also going to be legally responsible for that death that you've created. So I'd like to recommend you guys all check out Costa Ludus, Sheepdog Response. What else? Active self-protection. There's so many resources on YouTube that are free to use, so you can learn. If you're a new gun owner, if you're thinking about getting into guns, come reach out, talk to me. Absolutely. And I can refer you to some of my gun instructors in your area. There's no reason why we can't all, as a society, we don't need a fucking militia, but we definitely do need armed citizens who will make good decisions. You don't want to take the shot, hit the wrong person.
Exactly. And you're responsible for every round that leaves that weapon.
Every round, just like you're in the military.
Exactly.
Same shit.
Every single round. It's not just a wild, wild west where it's just gun slinging. And this is the biggest thing I want people to know, too, about my program. We're not cops. We're not out being vigilantes. We're deterrent, and we're ready to act if necessary. Mm-hmm. That's we're not trying to take cops' jobs. I'm making a relationship with law enforcement in my community. And it's so beautiful, man. It is so warming to see all of them being so receptive to it. Because I thought that they were going to be like, oh, this guy's trying to take our job. Or look at this renegade. Look at this. No, man. Because as soon as I start talking to them and explaining what's going on, and then they watched my videos, they were like, dude, this dude gets it. And Derek, as he talks to all the other ones, he was like, dude, every single one of them are on board.
We should definitely link up all the sheriffs, man, and talk about this. There's no reason why we can't get it done.
It's getting big, brother.
Yeah. If you guys would like to reach out to Anthony at all, he's on Facebook. Where else?
Yeah, Facebook. The easiest way to get in touch with me is on either TikTok and just follow me at AntTrip7, ANTTRIP, the number 7, or my website, allinadays.com. There's a chat with me or a donation. You hit the button, it sends me a direct email. So people want me to come and speak to them, come to their podcast, come talk to their kids. Check out their school. That's how they do it. Donate. That's how they do it. Gas prices for me to get school to school, park to park. This is how they do it. And it's been nice. The community is stepping up to actually show a difference.
Absolutely. Please donate, y'all. I'm definitely going to donate as soon as I'm back to work. So thanks for having you.
Thank you for having me, brother.
And much love, brother.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in all the way through. Anthony is somebody who is extremely remarkable, a complete wildfire when it comes to the fierce protective instinct he has towards humanity. And I think we need a lot more of that, honestly. If you'd like to chat about anything we covered, especially veteran suicide, or if you're having dark thoughts, please reach out to any of the resources I post in the comments, or reach out to me. I will take time out of my day. You are worth it. And please don't pass the pain to somebody else. You're not in this alone, and there are people who care enough to try to intervene and help you, man or woman. So please do feel free to share this with friends. We're trying to get more out there and to spread our message of trying to figure out how we can do this thing. Talking to other people is just the start of combating veteran suicide and suicide in general. And talking about our problems, opening up, sharing stories might just make a difference in somebody else's lives. So please do not hesitate to reach out. Please to any of these resources in the comments, and also any of the resources in the description. You are worth it. You are absolutely worth it. If you'd also like to reach out to Anthony via his page, everything will be posted down in the description as well. I hope you're having a great day, and thank you for tapping into Off the Deep End.